All right. Let's see. Mic. Yep. Mic levels are moving. Seems to be good. We can move on over to here for just a second. Just stand by, folks. I want to make sure I got my shit in order. Welcome. Boom, 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 boom. Different page. Hello. There I am. Yeah. I'm Cody with IronVerse Comics, and this is What You're Reading. I think this is the sixth one. This will also have some, well, various kinds of updates here in a little bit. But I hope you're doing well this new comic book day, this Wednesday as of the recording. What we do here is I go over some shit that I have read over the last week. Hopefully it's not shit, but we'll see. We'll see. In fact, yeah, I'd say none of this was terrible. One thing wasn't great, but it could be good when it's put into a perspective of continuation. But we'll get there. We'll get there. I promise. Whole point. Uh, I do hope you folks are well. I've got some hot coffee. Hopefully, I can finish it. Caffeine will fuel me. And yeah, I guess we can just hop into it. I don't have this in order of what I wanted to talk about, but this will do just fine. We can do it basically in this order. That'll do just fine. So we're gonna start here. Huge fan of the mid to late 80s British comic style. Um, we have here Judge Dredd 23 reprint of a bunch of storylines from, well, I think it's three storylines from 2080. One was like an 8-part storyline, so it was pretty meaty, about 7 pages per part. So it was a pretty meaty storyline. But then there was a two-parter that was about 14 pages, and then there was a one-parter that it started off with. Um, Freaking killer cover by Simon Bisley. It's one of, if not my favorite piece of Judge Dredd art. The coloring and everything, and I still need to figure out how to get this lighting better for these because it's terrible. It's good for me, like right here, but is it from a distance? Yeah, see, from a distance it's fine, but I try to get you up close to the cam and it's just washed out. I don't know how to work cinematography here. You're gonna have to just deal with the low budget, low budget and low skill. Um, so I was saying I really enjoy the British comic style. What do I mean by that? Well, you'll find a lot of comics around this age um, coming out of the English comic scene, particularly the English independent scene, but also, I guess I consider the Black Library works also the English independent scene. Um, had this look. Let me see if I can find something very, very specifically that I really liked. There was one panel here I really liked. Yeah, we can go with this. And again, apologies. Hopefully it doesn't wash out. Luckily, it's black and white on some matte paper, so maybe it won't wash out so bad. Uh, I don't know. There's a line art style, I'm going to say, that British, and even paneling and lettering. Basically, there's an English style from this point. If you look at this stuff, you look at old Warhammer 40K comics. Um, there's a particular style they were looking for, and I've fallen in love with it every time I find it. Sometimes it's done better than others. Some artists are better than others at it. I think this is C. Esquera, who may not be. Yeah, he's done work for Spanish publishers, so he himself is not British, but they were looking for that style. Um, I haven't read Judge Dredd for a long time, and I picked this up this morning because I wanted to have some more. I'll pick this up. I pulled it out of my collection this morning, trying to. I wanted to add a little bit more variety to the what you're reading um, today, and hopefully you'll see there's some variety. It was only otherwise if I hadn't read a couple other things, and the next thing we'll talk about, it would have been a lot of manga, and understandable, but I wanted a different vibe. And man, Judge Dredd delivers. I love that you can read it piecemeal. That there's 7 7-page, 8-page stories. Sometimes in parts, like this one had quite a few. But I'm a big fan of that format. It's quick, it's digestible, and it harkens back to when Western comics could be weekly. Um, they were never as ambitious as manga tends to be with the weekly schedule. Let's get a whole comic out in a week. These guys are like 7, 8 pages. You can do a page a day, right? That sounds about reasonable, and we can get it to press. Um, I wish that model was still feasible. And I think it could be. I think web comics these days kind of have a model like that, depending on who you're, dealing with, what work you're dealing with. But it's something we don't get in press anymore, in print. And as far as I'm aware, if I'm wrong, please tell me because I'd love to know. Um, Lizbar is correct. Mangaka work themselves to the bone, and then if they get famous enough and are allowed to work themselves to the bone for long enough, then yeah, they get a little bit more control and they'll just do stupid things like stupid things, very smart things like actually taking a break, but they can be very, very long breaks. when they do it. I have no idea how many of the top mangaka have kept. I mean, they have many assistants, right? Um, but still that pace is insanity. 7 or 8 pages, that's feasible, right? You can get up and do that. It's still a lot more work than I'd really want for an artist because I mean, I don't think it would give you much time to live, just like mangaka, and they eat for an hour or do a hobby or whatever, and then they just fucking go to sleep and then wake up and they're working, sometimes with very little sleep. Um, that's dedicating your life to work, and that's a tough one, right? It's something I think needs to be decided per person. Um, but it's still something that shouldn't have to be. It's the best way I can say it. And this model, the 2000 AD model, um, I think it was a decent balance, particularly since you don't have to worry about colors like mangaka. Um, that's one of the things too, right? This is the closest kind of work that the West has done to manga that I'm aware of, in terms of keeping up with the schedule, but also having similar ideas. We're just gonna ink it and letter it, or we're not gonna worry about doing color. We're just gonna tell weekly stories so people pick up our anthology magazine every week. Um, And from what I can tell, it looks like they were printed on kind of bigger newsprint, right? I mean, look at how big these pages are when they were recreated, and it's this wide spreads. Um, so it was produced cheaply, and again, was something that you could toss out or recycle or whatever. The value was in the story and not the collection. I think that's something manga has kind of shifted away from a little bit, but it's still part of its culture, right? They still try to make sure that it remains cheap and an easy impulse buy. Um, it'd be great if we had that ability in the West, but I mean, heavy metal's still around, and it does still produce anthology. I believe 2000 AD is also still around, um, but I haven't kept up with it. This particular collection is printed by Titan, and I don't think Titan's still around, but they might be. They might be. Again, let me know, folks, if I'm wrong. I'm not. I'm not a comics historian in any shape or form. I've just read a few. Um, and let's get into the actual stories. So the first, what is it, an 8-page story? Let me check this out real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-page story. First 7-page story in this is Dredd catching a guy called the Prankster. It's what it is. It's a very simple, self-contained 7-page story, and it plenty of value. It's just a rich guy who's really bored, who makes sure he's not hurting anybody, but drops itching powder bombs or demolishes newly built buildings when no one's around to get hurt. Or what was the other thing that he did? Oh, stopped all the traffic lights in the city. That one's a little dangerous, if you ask me. Hospitals and such in a mega city. That one's not so safe. But I got what they were getting for. They wanted a third kind of idea of craziness, and it's just Dredd ends up trying to trap him. Trickster tries to trap Dredd in Dredd's own trap, but Dredd gets a whiff of it that something's wrong and catches the guy. It's very, very direct, simple storytelling, but that artistry, that grime of 80s English comics is just it's so wonderful. I love the lettering choice. I don't know if these. Let me see. Let me see. I don't think at this point it could have been, which would make sense. Let me see. Alan Grant, John Wagner, Carlos Escobar. So who is Alan Grant in this? It does not list like what the roles are. It just lists the team. Interesting choice. I think Alan Grant might actually be the line artist and Carlos might be the inker, but it doesn't. In the back, maybe? No, the back and the front cover are blank. Script, art, lettering. So there is a letterer. There is a letterer. I'm not sure if it was done digitally or by hand, but it's got this quality that I haven't seen repeated outside of British comics. I could be wrong, but it's got this squareness to it. I'll see if I can show you, and then I'll get to your comments, Eliza Barr. Uh, you're gonna zoom in, focus. Can we get maybe on her? I don't know. It's hard to say, but it's a little bit more edged, a little bit squarer of lettering than like the more Comic Sans kind of looking lettering we get these days, right? Um, that's weird. So letterers script. So why is Alan Grant even credited on here? Is it just another? No. Why is Alan Grant? Maybe because he's the creator? Part 6. Yeah, because he's not like part of the team in any of these. Yeah, it's just T.B. Grover on the script, Esquera on art, which means he does the inking and the lines, and T-Frame, whatever T-Frame is for lettering. So yeah, interesting. I don't know why Alan Grant's on here, unless maybe he is the creator of Judge Dredd and I'm just being stupid. Anyway, the first story, quick, 7-page little self-contained thing where he catches a guy named the Prankster. It's fun. It's fun. The second storyline in here is 8 parts, and it is a mind control alien crashes into the desert, and Dredd gets taken over in one part, attacks a mutant settlement, uh, realizes the thing that's the parasite that's on him, decides that it doesn't want to die and it could get in there easier by just sneaking in itself. So it leaves Dredd unconscious in front of it, and then Dredd wakes up, and the parasite goes into the mutant place and starts impregnating everybody. It impregnated Dredd as well, so they have to remove an egg from Dredd in one part. After he gets back to the city, the egg starts controlling him on the way. It's a fun little story. It's very, very, very simple. It's just a mind control alien and them dealing with it and it impregnating things. And of course, they do deal with it. They burn the shit out of them. It impregnates that whole settlement. The whole settlement goes to the crashed ship, which they instinctively are calling the nest, and then they just burn it. These stories are super straightforward, but they're fun, and the artistry is always great. I love the mutant designs in Judge Dredd. Man, I'll figure out lighting one of these days. I got to play with that. Um, but man, I really do love that. I love the artwork in this, and the pacing's good because you can take a break at any point, within 7 pages, and they don't try to be too wordy.
don't try to pack too much in there. They're not in a hurry. They know they're playing. They want to put out a straightforward, simple but fun story. Um, and then the third story in it, the last story in it, is a reporter who discovers that the cops are pumping. Um, it's basically fluoride. They're pumping trank gas into hot zones around the city to try and keep crime down. And then by the end of it, they lobotomize the reporter. Dredd orders a lobotomy. And then it just ends. The dystopia wins. Um, that was it. But man, I had a lot of fun. I tore right through this. Um, I am sorry that Titan, so many comic companies, I don't know what they're doing. Um, so I don't. I'm a back issue guy. This is a back issue. A lot of back issues. Definitely still worth supporting the back stuff, particularly if you're getting it from like used. I got this and two other Dread trades like this for like $12, $4 a piece or something from some guy on eBay. Um, some of the best parts of these is that they're self-contained, right? So very short stories. I don't need Judge Dredd 22 to enjoy this, right? And there's like 40 of them. There's a few that aren't self-contained. Judge Dredd Nas, it says book 1 through 3, Apocalypse War book 1 and 2. So there's some that are really long arcs apparently, but 4 through 12 are not, 13 through 22 aren't. Um, Lots of cool stuff. Lots of cool stuff. Did not know Titan was still around, and it's annoying that comic book public personas are often really shitty. Best way I can say it. I don't know. Out of all people, Lizabar, I don't know how you would get tagged as that. Um, Honestly, I'm surprised I haven't been tagged by anybody as that because I can be relatively persistent um, and annoying. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But this was still a really cool read, and man, do I fucking love that cover. Again, it's probably my favorite piece of Judge Dredd art. Is there a way I can? I'm gonna try something. Let me see. Let me see. If I turn that, it's hot. It's a hot bulb. It's a hot bulb, folks. Hot. Hot, hot, hot. Simon Bisley. You can't go wrong. You just can't. Can we go more over here so I can center it? There we go. Look at that. Oh, it's so cool. Fucking love that cover. Again, it's got to be my favorite piece of Judge Dredd art that I've seen so far. So cool. It's why I picked up the three, the three of these. You might be able to see. No, my pillow covers it. Boom, 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 boom. No, that's too far. Mega City Vice Part One is behind it, and it's got one of those. It's not Judge Death, but it's another Judge Mutant kind of character. Cool stuff. Cool stuff. I'm a Judge Dredd fan. I don't know what. Oh, you know what? I didn't read this, and I can't read it, so I'm gonna show you just because it came up now. The other Judge Dredd, modern Judge Dredd. Oh my God. So this I got super cheap, and it was a thick Judge Dredd thing. So I was like, okay, this could be okay. Whew. Okay, prepare for this. I'm gonna show you the art style in this modern Judge Dredd book. I'm gonna cry. Prepare yourself. It's cuddly. And the whole joke is that they sent him to this like super gentle city, like Mega City, a city that's like way more about. I mean, it's written by a guy. You can read the writer there. So you could maybe see how this isn't. But it was $4. $4. Well, it's the first fucking panel that it intros too, man. Like, I tried because I get the idea that it's going for. I tried to read this. This is IDW Judge Dredd. I just couldn't. Like, even the joke that it did, it's taking too seriously, and not like Dredd taking it too seriously. So you're watching like a really serious guy in that. No, it's just like the whole thing is taken really. I couldn't. I just couldn't. And I'm still gonna try one of these days so I can actually talk about the story of it. But from the artistry level, Oh my god. I mean, the guy, like, I could do with soft round lines. We're going to talk about Gru here in a minute. Soft round playful lines. Um, and the guy kind of has that Aragonus where he'll do hyper detail with that too, which is kind of cool. It's why I like the cover. I thought, it's not great, but the cover's kind of high detail, right? So it's a unique style. I showed you that. I was just and I was just talking about how much I love that Judge Dredd grime, inky, independent comic feel, and holy hell, did they suck all the life out of Judge Dredd as a concept in that fucking graphic novel. So yeah, I had to show you that just because of fucking A, man. So that's why I don't do modern. Dave here said back issue binger. Yeah, no question. Trades and back issues. Very rarely do I see a modern comic I want to hop on. Um, from a larger company, and even some of the larger independent companies. Y'all said, dang, all those feathers on the eagle statue. I have an eagle lamp back there. Not sure if you're talking about that or if you're talking about something from Dread. Either way, I love the older Dread art. Um, very, very cool stuff. It's like art you see in pharmaceutical TV ads. Yeah, yeah, really gentle, non-offensive, um, cuddly is what I said, and that's a very kind way for me. It's not to my taste. And if you're doing Judge Dredd, I would think you're trying to market it to guys like me. But comics has a lot of that problem right now. So is what it is. I think that's from 2013 too. So that's a 2013, 2016. That's gonna bug me because I know it's not all that new, right? Uh, look, and even look, this bugs me. This bugs me. So you open the page, right? You open the page and you get some cool Judge Dredd art right on the interior of the trade. Oh, that bothers me. That bothers me. I didn't even realize that. And then the next page. The next page is like, haha, made you look. We got this soft stuff. What year was this? 2014. That was it, 2014. It's not I can respect trying something new. But you gotta know when it's probably not gonna work, right? Unless you're just really trying to give these guys a paycheck and a footing, and you think that the IP can do that, and you're looking out for your buddy. I don't know. I want to try and get through that so I can speak to the merits of the writing. So tough, so tough. But I guess that's enough about Dread. Um, the first thing I showed you, I really enjoyed. The second thing, I wouldn't recommend purchasing unless you have the morbid curiosity I did, and still do. But oh yeah, Crew Mug from the Punisher film. Somebody was getting rid of it on eBay like God 7 years ago or something. I had to snatch that up. This is my oldest coffee mug. When I started drinking coffee, it was out of that mug. So let's go to the soft thing now. How to do soft, gentle, playful lines correctly with Sergio Aragones and Gru the Wanderer. I try and do a Gru issue every week on what you're reading. Nobody talks about the character enough. Sergio is an extreme talent and actually has taken what a funny book should be and continued it for so long. We have Gru versus Tarzan coming up here soon. I'm excited for that, actually. There's a new comic I'm actually excited for. Um, Soft, playful lines, hyper detail, used in service of the story to enhance the comedy and the timing. And I just, if you're gonna do that, do this. Like I could pick up any issue of Gru that's not directly says like a part one or whatever on the cover and enjoy myself. Some are much better than others, but I'm going to enjoy the read. I have not found one that disappointed me. Just some of them are much better than others. This one, Grew 27, the theme was spying. The Sage, massive reoccurring character in Grew, and the Bard meet up at the beginning, and they are found by a army. I guess that's occupying the country they're walking through. And they're told they're spies, and they're going to be decapitated. So, as the Sage and the Bard tend to do, they just start trying to stall for time. So they start telling stories of their buddy Gru because they know Gru is hilarious and the tales that they can tell will be enthralling and will keep them from getting their heads chopped off for a little longer. And so they tell a story of Gru trying to deliver a message where another army had hired him, um, trying to get him killed. They sent him through enemy territory to deliver a message to another army on the other side of that enemy territory. That's wrong. They want the message to they want Gru. They tell him he's going to be a spy, and of course Gru's running around slaying people, yelling, "I'm a spy! No one must know this! Tell everyone!" uh, that, there's a reoccurring bit in Gru comics too where they'll call him slow of mind, and then like 4 pages later in a random panel he'll click on it and he'll say, "Wait, slow of mind." And it'll be unrelated, like a lot of shit has happened. The writing is just so fun. The artwork is so playful and just agreeable. I mean, even this cover, which is just a bunch of separate panels of Gru in action poses. It's fun. It's fucking fun. Always. I can't talk to Gru enough. There's a channel on YouTube, a relatively small channel called GruTube. Please check it out. I like that creator a lot, and he puts a lot of care into his videos, and you can tell he loves Sergio Aragones and the work. Definitely sub there. Just look up GruTube. Very much worth your time. Um, I want more people to talk about Gru. It's good for the soul. If you are a comic book creator, you're a comic book fan, and you have any inkling of humor and like an idea of joy, um, yeah, fucking Gru the Wanderer. This was issue 27. Um, it's basically two spy tales with the framing device of the Bard and the Sage talking to the enemy army about Gru. The second spy tale is that the one? I might have to look. Second spy tale. Sorry. Okay, no, I told you about the second. So then what was the first? And then like his spreads, right? This is what I meant by that gentle, but then hyper detail. Argona's always opened with these. That's what he was famous in Mad Magazine as well for, is that those beautiful spreads that are just goofy as all hell. And yet extreme artistry is presented. And it's just like a fucking getting hugged by a comic, man. Huge fan of Gru. I can't ever say enough, so that's why every week we're going to talk about a Gru the Wanderer on What You're Reading. Um, Even if I have to read it just 10 minutes before I start. just, man, so freaking good. I'll put Gru there. All right, now we're going to dive into the manga. So, I've been trying to catch up on Battle Angel Alita, and now I've only got 5 volumes till I'm caught up. And that would be, God, 15, 19 there. And I don't know how many are in there. About 15. So that's like almost 40 volumes overall from the beginning of Battle Angel Alita to Battle Angel Alita Last Order, which I finished and spoke about last week, where the ending was kind of like it resolved some things from the original set of arcs and left a lot of things in its own set of arcs open, and that would be for this Mars Chronicle. We'll go volume to volume with Mars Chronicle. Last Order was really good. I liked its different approach. His artwork's always incredible. His pacing is great. It's very rare that you'll get super confusing panels, but you'll get really bright spectacles where not much is happening, but it's it's a spectacle. It's really bright. It's enjoyable to look at, and then you're on to the next page. Uh, but Kishiro, um, man, okay. So at the end of Last Order, Alita it has become the Last Order. Um, I don't want to spoil too much of that, but basically means she's an agent of fate. That's about the best way I could say it. And she's integrated her identity, and she is now trying to be a positive force with this new identity. Uh, Last Order, Volume 17, I think, we meet a young lady called Erica, who I say, we meet an older version of herself, who's now called Frau X, and we kind of knew about Erica. When Alita starts getting some of her memories back from when she was Yoko, 200 years ago on Mars, which Mars Chronicle, she we see this little blonde girl. There we go. That's Yoko and Erica right there. Um, the but we just get hints, right? We get scenes, we get flashbacks, panels, not pages. Um, of this, and then it's kind of brushed and integrated, but then quote unquote forgotten about. Like even Erica being introduced in the Last Order is just a fight with another character that we've met throughout Last Order, who's an important soldier character, and she's reappearing in Mars Chronicle, of course. She guards the Queen of Mars, but it felt really thrown in Last Order, right? She just shows up. The scene's there in the past a little bit while Alita's doing something else, and then they just kind of let that be. It literally is only to serve as her introduction. Uh, the modern version of Erica, her introduction. Um, so, uh, at the end of Last Order, Alita is put on this mission. She's become the Last Order. Um, we don't hear what the mission is. We just know she's going to Mars. Or no, she's going to Venus, is it? And in fact, even through Mars Chronicle so far, we don't know what she was doing on Venus. So far, I say, into Volume 2. Um, this first one, as you can tell, again, I'm going to show you the cover, because the cover, this is one of the better examples in the entire set of volumes where it's telling you what you're going to get. It entirely focuses, this first volume, on young Yoko and Erica. And I think the point of this first volume is to show the horror of war and existence through a child's eyes. The whole volume, right? So we don't learn anything more about modern Alita, nothing like that. He's just like, we're going back into the past and I'm going to show you something. We do find out, so we don't go all the way to like Yoko's parents, Alita's parents, or anything like that. We find out she is still just a head on a cyborg body, even when she was tiny. Um, in fact, the first opening panel here. That's how he opens it. With her not knowing how to use her body, having to actually use a little remote control to do it because her neuro system just hasn't figured it out, and it's a cheap body. We get this kind doctor who's kind of patching them up. They both had lost their parents. They're both dead. I think we actually find out why later in Mars Chronicle, but I'm not there yet. Um, and we find this strange bond between Erica and Yoko. Um, we had again in those flashbacks earlier, we saw that they raiders were using them or were gonna use them. They were just gonna kill them, but they decided to play with these kids. And they were gonna have them walk through a minefield, and if they survived, they told them that the kids could get to go away, right? They get to live. Um, Fucked up, really really fucked up. So we see this, and we see this building courage, and that's where their friendship forms out of nowhere because they never met each other before. They didn't have a friendship otherwise, but it's just these two little girls being forced into an absolute horror show and trying to literally the message of that entire sequence is to continue forward. Be brave. um, very powerful. It's getting me even right now. But this we see them in the orphanage after that scene. They get the 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 marauders who are forcing them through that, if I'm remembering correctly, are just murdered out, and then they're rescued and taken to a different village on Mars, to an orphanage, right? And so we get to see them in the orphanage. There's a manipulative older lady, older girl who believes she is the daughter, she's royalty. She believes she's royalty, and that may have just been something that kept her sane. It's kind of implied it is. We get this whole dream sequence. It's really heartbreaking. Uh, really, if I had to sum this up, that's the entire bit. This, for instance, is a great bit though. Yoko's the queen girl is an absolute piece of shit to the new kids. She wants to put down her authority. She wants to use them. She wants to break up their friendship so she feels powerful, right? All these shitty things. But then war comes to that village, and suddenly she really wants to be a leader. Um, but she also wants to get rid of Yoko. So she sends Yoko on an impossible mission to get this door open that they can't open otherwise. And freaking Yoko's all over it. She doesn't care. She knows she has to keep moving forward. And she does it. And they get out. And I don't really want to spoil part of it because most of this is psychological exploration of what happens to children in war. Um, it's not fun. It's not a fun. But in fact, this is the least out of all of Alita Battle Angel, and there's been some really shitty dark moments. This motherfucker right here is this is the opus of the darkness. He wanted to open Mars Chronicle with this. Now I don't know if it's going to get worse as Mars Chronicle goes on. Volume 2 did not go that direction. Um, but I'll see. I'll see as Kishiro continues at it. But this ends with them getting through that, right? And they get rescued. And that's it. The ending panel of it is this. Let me show you. Not that. This. So the doctor had rescued them and is bringing them to another place. That's it. He just ends the book with them kind of having some peace, right? This one's this is the hardest read out of all of them. Not for pacing or writing or any of that. Just content. The content is just really painful. It's painful content. But it wasn't a bad start. It wasn't what I expected, except from the cover. I kind of thought maybe it would linger in that a little bit, but it that is it. That's the whole bit. Um, but then we're on to volume 2, and I have a lot to say about volume 2. All right, I do recommend Mars Chronicle volume 1, but read all of it. Start with Battle Angel Alita. The playfulness of the 80s origin and how his line art was then and how he decided to do things, I prefer to how he modernized. But it became more spectacle, and the art style did get tighter and he matured, right? There's that more 80s kind of grime in Battle Angel Alita, the original run. I prefer that. But the entire story fits together really well, and it still is. Now, I had a really hard time with Last Order Omnibus 3, I believe it is, where he did another thing kind of like this, where he took a whole bunch of volumes, in that case it was 3 volumes, in this case it's just the one, to tell a side story about fucking vampires. And I was like, what the fuck are vampires doing in my cyberpunk story? Why? What the fuck? And so that was a hard read to get through because I wasn't invested in any of it. By volume 4 or omnibus 4, 5, and 6, and so 4 and 5, you get it. You get it. He pulls it together and shows you why he fucking put vampires in there, and it was to explore immortality on the biological sense instead of just the mechanical sense, which is neat. It's neat, and it works really well. Uh, but that was the hardest read up until fucking Mars Chronicle Volume 2. Mars Chronicle Volume 2 takes place 3 years after the end of Last Order. So we get to finally kind of meet back up with modern Alita, the Alita we've followed her entire story, right? And just got another little dose of her beforehand, a little bit of a prequel. And it's not bad. Like I could still tear through it in one sitting, like I do with most manga. But it is. It's like he had a million balls and he needed to juggle all of them in a hurry. Um, and it did not make for a easy to comprehend read. I have this problem with Trigun as well. Trigun, like his artistry and the story he's trying to tell, very disjointed and kind of juggly. So I don't love the Trigun manga so much. I've really tried. I've had it for years now, and I still haven't gotten very far into Trigun Maximum, and it took me a long time and a lot of willpower to get through the two parts Dark Horse put out of the two collected Dark Horse put out of Trigun. Really hard read. This had similar vibes. Like usually the writing's smoother and the paneling's smoother, but this is like I want to give you this idea, and then I want to give you this idea, and then I want to give you this idea, and here's a bunch of these things, and then here you go. It's like he's in a hurry. Volume 2 is the most hurry I've seen this mangaka be in. And I don't know why. Um, I don't know why. I don't know why he was in such a hurry. And I'm hoping Volume 3 and on will help tell me why. But Volume 2 is the hardest read from a creative standpoint that he's put out. It was not great. It got a lot of information out, like a lot of backstory, but there's like character interactions and these things like, well, you don't know these guys, but they know each other, so here's this information. Let's move on. You should enjoy these characters. Like, you should have the same investment Alita has in these characters, which apparently she's known for a good chunk of time, but without knowing these characters for the same amount of time that she has. And without giving you a compelling reason for it. It's tough. It's disjointed. And again, it's like he had a million things on his list and he had to get them all into this in a hurry. And I'm curious how that went. Now, not to say. Now I am going to say, the artwork, as always, is fucking stunning. There was no sacrifice on the artistic side at all. Just beautiful. Again, some of the panel transitions from a storytelling perspective are kind of confusing. That's something you'll find with his work, though, in even Last Order here and there, especially during fight sequences. He focuses on really big moments with a lot of flash, and sometimes they don't flow from one panel to the next amazingly, and sometimes from one page to the next because they're big splashes, right? But the vampires are already wiped out. It was a trip. Everything else is going to get hurried. There's one vampire left alive by this point. That whole Omnibus 3 in Last Order was telling that woman's story. Alita faces her in the Zot tournament, which is the entire, like, 90% of Last Order is the Zot tournament, which is just an exploration of philosophy and identity framed in a government-held, I keep wanting to say galactic, solar system-wide tournament for supremacy. It's the carrot on the stick as well for most of the plot lines. You know, if you win the Zot tournament, you can ask for nearly anything. And then the guy who runs it has a great plot. Last Order has a lot of really cool explorations of identity. Wonderful. This he's done exploring identity, I think. Maybe maybe not like in like a being present kind of sense of identity, or in a being present kind of sense of identity, and maybe he's trying to work towards exploring how the past affects the present, uh, how your past would change your identity in the future. That might be what he's working at. 2 volumes in, I can't say. But throughout Last Order, that was the entire point. He explores the masculine and the feminine very directly and very overtly, quite literally with phalluses. Uh, he explores logic versus emotion. He explores freedom versus order. He explores intent versus action, or intent versus result, excuse me. Um, Last Order is a really good read if you had read Battle Angel Alita prior, which is just kind of more of a classic coming of age manga kind of tale. Um, this really it flipped the ball on a lot of things in my eyes. Now I'll see again as I continue if it didn't. Now there was a massive saving grace, and that's why there's a bookmark here. I did finish reading it, but I wanted to be able to divide this because there's so throughout the omnibuses they would include some of his really old work when he was first pitching to publishers that hadn't been printed in English, which was really neat. You get to see some of his older art style again. You get to see his one shots, right? The things he tried to pitch and really wanted to go for. Only one of them actually got a sequel issue, and then there was nothing else. Um, they were fun. They weren't great. They were a young creator's work. It's probably a lot like what mine's coming off as. This though, and he just did the art on this. So he believed in the story, or they decided that the match would work really well through the publisher. I don't know the story behind this, but it's called World of Mist. They included it in the back of this one to fill out pages. And holy crap, for a one shot, let me see, it starts on, that's 167, so that would be 166, 165, 164, 163, 2, so it's about 30 pages. Yeah, it's a 30-page one-shot. World of Mist, written by Hirotaka Tobi with art by Kishiro. And it won the 46th Seiun Award for Best Japanese Sci-Fi Short Story. It's beautiful. This is slowly revealed, and I don't. God, I hope you could just get a hold of it. It's one of those things where, like, if I tell you too much about it, it's gonna ruin it. Just such a wonderful surprise, heartfelt, ends on a note of beautiful hope. Um, it is a sci-fi story. I guess the basic premise that doesn't really throw anything out, and he even introduces you right here on the second page. Something's fucked with the world, and we're following this kid, and he meets another kid. And their journey together in this world is really well done. It's beautifully paced. It builds this relationship up and lets it drop, and then builds it up some more, and then just kind of watches as this concept that kind of is binding these characters together bloom, and then just leaves you with the flower. It's really good, and of course his artistry is always incredible. That's the thing. Kishiro's artistry is impeccable. Is there a way to hold this better? The paneling, everything, but paired with this writer, oh my god, the pace just. This is heart that you don't really get in Battle Angel Alita in that. If you can find it elsewhere, even just online, if I must say, this is a really worthy one-shot read. I'm glad it was a fucking award winner. It deserves it. It's a beautiful, freaking self-contained little story. Probably one of the best things I've read in a while. And we're about to talk about Fist of the North Star, so that's saying something. So that saved this volume for me. The actual reason I bought the volume was Mars. I want to continue Alita's story, and it did that. Um, but again, he's just in such a hurry. He's in such a fucking hurry, and I don't know why. I don't know why. I mean, he still tries to do some brevity. So there's a bit more brevity or levity, I guess would be the word in this. You know, you get this kind of shit. Um, but yeah, I hope issue 3 picks up the ball and runs with it. This kind of just was like, and a bunch of them dropped, and it's still just like juggling them. So I don't know. I don't know. Um, Second time, but only the second time that this author mangaka has done that to me, where he's lost me. But I persevered last time, and holy hell, did it pay off! This this isn't a side story. This is the main story, and it introduced zombie soldiers is about the best way to say it. Which is another, I guess that could be maybe the facet of identity he's trying to explore now, is like death beyond life beyond death. That might be where he's going here, which also falls into the vampire category, come to think of it. But I don't know. I don't know. Art is wonderful. Some of the character, and like most of the rush is in character interactions. It's not like moment to moment like storytelling that feels rushed. It's the character interactions are really blunt and in some cases dumb. In some cases they were not good. They were just like, why are you doing this? Like, we met this character like halfway through Last Order and they had way better interactions. That kind of shit. I don't know. I don't know. I'm hopeful because this should be finally finishing it when Battle Angel Alita, how it ends, fucking incredible. The original, just the one of the bravest endings I've ever seen a comic creator do. But then he's like, well, they want me to do more, which is the Dragon Ball Toriyama syndrome. Poor guy. We need you to do more. All right. Let's see. I pull out my ass, which is what Toriyama does. He has an idea where he wants to take things. This volume, he had maybe too many ideas of where he wants to take things. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. Still recommend it so far. You know, it's a good read. It didn't stop me from reading it, right? There's a lot of comics I can pick up, and 3 pages in, it's work. It wasn't work. It's just the lowest quality that I've dealt with his work. Really, really bothered me. Howdy, Nefarious. Welcome, welcome. Do any of the omnibuses have the Ramika story in them? It was where Gally and I don't think so. If it Ramika, Mika. I don't mind checking. It's worth checking. Let me grab these guys from here and we'll check. I don't think so. There's one where it's these kids wanting to go out into space and be space pirates. The first one is maybe that's Ramika. Maybe that is it. Let me look. So that's it right here. Let me look. Is that what this one's called? There's one called Fly, where this guy finds an angel, and they live on like this island. Nobody remembers how to fly. There's duck people. It's a crazy, like, very much Toriyama style world where there's just all kinds of crazy shit and everybody just accepts it and it's just how the world is. Felt like that. And it's all about flying. Nope, the characters are Libel and Torio in this. Really fun stuff though. Again, he had more of a classic mangaka style back in the day. Like his faces and everything. Good stuff. Good stuff. Wasn't my favorite of the reads, but it was a good one. It was a good one. Oh, is that Remika? Let me see. What's her name? The warrior who captures to say that they'll take over this wheel mountain. It's a moving mountain that's just crushing places. And it's about to crush this guy's village. Oh, is that 2 of them? Maybe that's it. Maybe there's 2 different ones. Because, yeah, there's Fly and then there's this. Maybe this is Remika. No, it's called The Great Machine. That's the other one. That one's pretty cool, too. I do recommend The Great Machine quite a bit. The ending's really fun. His one-shots can be really good when he doesn't overthink things. I think maybe he's overthinking Battle Angel Alita. And he's getting older, and a lot of his peers are getting older, and he's watching what happens to mangaka as they get older. So I think maybe that's leaking into Battle Angel Alita. Just me Being curious. Let me see. Remika. This is Japan's first superhero, Headman, which is kind of like the Amazing Screw-On Head in concept. It's just this guy who can put himself into other bodies. Is that the only one in here, though? No. So let me see. Oh, and then yeah, the Planet of Depths is the other one where this guy slowly turns into a fish and goes insane because he's on this water planet that they're trying to make make into a livable. They're trying to terraform. They're trying to make into a livable area. And then there was Future Tokyo Headman. That's the other one. Yeah, Future Tokyo Headman. So nope, it's not in one or two. Here's three. What was the back of three? Junks. That was the space pirate one. It's called Junks, and it had a part one and part two. It was the only one of these that did. Romika. Space Oddities, the other one. Uh, that one's just, I like the lettering is that fucking Iron Maiden font. Um, uh, Space Oddity is pretty fun. It young woman's gonna go investigate. Is hired. She's private investigator. She's hired to go check out why everybody keeps dying on this old ship that this guy's trying to restore. Spoiler: turns out the old guy's trying to kill everybody. Killing everybody who gets on the ship. And they were blaming it on ghosts so he could continue to put people on the ship. And then Junks is just a bunch of kids who want to break out of their world and become space pirates because there's freedom in piracy. Basically, that South Park episode. Let me see. For Remika. Junker Part 2. I think that's the only one in here. Yep, Junker Part 2. Junker's fun. Part 2 ends with like a race against a head pirate because you have to join the pirate guild and a whole bunch of other shit. And they're surfing around a star, and the guy keeps trying to kill the kids, kill the kid in the competition who's surfing, and the kid wins anyway. And pretty basic. Remika. Maybe not. Doesn't look like it. And then the final volume, just the final omnibus, does not have an extra story. And I don't think any of the self-contained volumes, which you have to get after the fucking omnibus, had any stories in them. So, yeah. No is your answer, Eliza Barr, but I had to check to make sure. I had no fucking idea. So no, I have no idea where that is. I should find that. Because again, I liked his older stuff a little bit better. I liked what he did with Last Order, but it's a little odd. It's odd here and there. But that's kind of to be expected. It really is after you're doing something for so long. But yeah, no, they should include that if they haven't. Might be waiting to include it in another one of these. Maybe it's included in another Mars Chronicle volume. I don't know. But okay, now we're on to this, which, oh man, I just want to talk about the book printing itself. Holy hell. That really nice textured hardcover feel for like a nice textbook kind of fucking feel to it. It's got the smoothness. The lettering is a little bit embossed. It's got this awesome touches where it's got these fucking blood stains all over the book here and there. Like the book was used to fucking beat somebody to death. And they're embossed and shiny. It's got more blood drip right there. And then it's got the North Star, his fucking wound there, put out through here. And it's kind of just implied. If you move it back and forth, you'll see it. It's really, it's a beautiful book. And it feels so good to hold. I was really impressed with the print of this. It's just so good. So fucking good. And then it did something which was really neat. Shadowroo. I love it. It started off with glossy paper, which is like, what the fuck on a manga, right? This is why. They wanted those colors to pop. They wanted those fucking colors to pop. And holy hell, wise choice. It starts with this glossy paper. So cool. Put you right in the mood. Beautiful intro. Chapter 1 of Fist of the North Star is probably my favorite character intro in comics. It does everything it needs to be, and then it just kind of lets it go. The anime is so much more long-winded than this manga, and the manga's pacing for the plot is just it's so good, it's so good. Then you get this, let's go straight into the wastes. You get your lighter colors, right, to intro you. You get one more page so you can see the villains, get you established in the horror, right? And then manga, which you get one gloss page of traditional line art, and then straight up to the normal manga paper, which the line art looks better on, if you ask me. Um, Incredible artistry. I am so happy they reprinted this, because the only way for a very long time to get this in English without spending literally hundreds of dollars per volume was fucking fan translations. I hope they're talking about Hajime no Ippo, at least getting a digital release again. So I'm slightly hopeful that that'll start getting volumes too. I really want Hajime no Ippo. It's one of the most inspirational fucking works of writing ever. Beautiful boxing story. But Fist of the North Star, fucking A. Like this is my alley. Like there's no manga that's more my vibe than fucking Mad Max Bruce Lee. And I was so glad I waited, and so glad that this came up. Again, one of my favorite, probably my favorite character intro in comics. It does everything it needs to. It's got all this fucking gore from the fucking fist, exploding heads, everything I love. Here's your Lone Wanderer intro, right? Oh, it's so good. It's so good. I tore through this fucker. Enjoyed every second of it. Pisses me off where they chose to end, though. They chose to end halfway through a mini arc, right? It finishes an arc, and then it includes like an issue or of another arc. It bugs me. It ends literally. I think they fucking wanted the cliffhanger, is what they did, and that bothers me. I love my cliffhangers, but it ends with this fight about to happen. It just fucking ends. Right? And now I'm like, when the fuck is volume 2? Which is what they wanted, I bet. God damn it. But as a self-contained volume, right, I wish you could just pick it up. And you can, you just got to stop before that chapter, right? But, Ken is a fucking cool character. The art that's presented in this first collected is really good. It's got I was able to finish the anime's plot that was started that I didn't even fucking know, right? Because the anime just was paced so slow. This perfect, perfect fucking pacing. We got to see the vengeance, and with the Fist of the South, and all these little moments, the fat guy that the Fist of the South thinks that Kenshiro can't beat, but he's like, oh, you don't know me anymore. And he fucking kills that guy right away in one page after they built him up for so long, just to show you how badass Ken is. Um, there's just emotion in his line art. Man, really, $20 US, 27 Canada, poor Canadians, 16 UK. The print quality is fucking incredible. The hardcover, the attention detail and the love that they put into printing these. I really hope they just sell and sell and sell, because this is a standard. Like this is a standard that out of like every kind of collected trade I've ever dealt with has shown the most love and affection and care to an IP, to an idea, to something so long beloved, but so under available. It's man, so good. I'm picking up volume 2 as soon as I can pre-order it. I pre-ordered this May 3rd for my birthday. It wasn't released until June 15th, I think, and then I got it like the 18th. So I did just recently read this, but oh man, it's so good. It's so good. I'm so excited for more. But that print, man, it just feels good to hold. Solid. It's a little bit bigger than your average manga volume, but it's not as big as your average trade. It's just the right size to give the art just a little bit more, show, just a little bit more pop and size. Oh, it's so good. It is so good. If you folks can get a hold of these and you're interested in a post-apocalyptic kung fu story, fucking A, this is your go. This is your go. There's a reason it's so long beloved and remembered. There's a reason why there is the "you are already dead" meme. You know, it's fucking killer. And this is how you should get that story. Most people would know it from the anime, I would think. That this is how it was intended, the pacing, the movement, how comics. The IP was for comics. The anime was really, you know, again, for me, they slowed down things to pad out to normal episode length, I think. Um, this, you don't, like the side fucking character that you're introduced at the beginning, he overstays his welcome a bit in the anime. In this, perfectly paced. He does his job just fine. He adds some levity, he adds the cowardice, and then you get to see him grow as Kenshiro sets an example. So good. So good. So good. Really worth picking up. I've seen the clips of it, right? And as a uh, as an oddity, oh, absolutely killer. Absolutely killer. Be right back. I gotta turn on this cooler. It's getting too hot in here. But seriously, I mean, if you collect manga and if you want to read this story again or haven't yet, I really want people to support this because not only do I want them to be able to print all the series in this kind of format so I can have it for like ever, I want this standard to be something that the industry takes a note of. Like I'd buy Judge Dredd like this. I'd buy fucking any manga like this. Any fucking manga. Like Battle Angel Alita. I'll show you something. The deluxe edition I got, which is how I kind of got put to it, right? So you get these bigger, more traditional textbook kind of sized manga, right? I think that's kind of what Dark Horse is doing with Berserk as well. I believe they're this size and not this size. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. So you get, you know, the difference, and it's really nice to see that larger art. I won't lie. I like seeing if the artistry's worth it, if the artistry is good, then it's worth it, right? And I like I don't well okay I don't mind the glossy paper so much on these, but there's something I think there is absolutely a reason they chose to print it more on this rougher, closer to newsprint style paper in these. The line art sometimes was quite intended for that kind of paper, right? That's why a lot of older comics, when they're reprinted, the colors don't work, right? Uh, because they were intended for a different medium. They were intended to be printed on something else. And I think that can happen. Again, these totally worth getting if you have the extra scratch. I really love this collection. God, I got it probably a couple years back now. Worth it, but I don't know. I prefer the size. It's easier to hold. It still is upgraded from a normal manga volume, so you still get a little bit bigger art. It's not as heavy. This fucking thing I'd kill somebody with. This thing just looks like somebody was killed with it. Um, it's nice, right? It's nice, but it's a little much. It's a little unwieldy. Fucking perfect. Fist of the North Star was fucking perfect in its presentation and each detail and care to the covers and to the work. This is nice. This is really nice, right? And I'll show you one more, about the same size. And it's not how I originally read these. I originally read these buying one volume at a time. Nausicaa. Still one of my favorite stories fucking ever. Again, post-apocalyptic is always going to have me. It also chose, unlike Alita there, which is gloss paper, it chose to do the soft paper. Holy hell. I read these in the original volume, which I believe was gloss paper. So they, in fact, when they recollected it to do this, they chose very specifically to get this softer, more newsprint kind of paper, and it's because the line art works better. So good. these are worth picking up volume to volume, and the old volumes are actually going really cheap because of how many of these they printed. Um, these actually ended up going kind of cheap too, just because they weren't bought enough. Because I guess they don't want. I don't know. It's Nausicaa as it should be, as the story should be told. The movie's really good. It's how I got introduced to it. But when you read the manga, the ideas and how far he takes things, so as to really push forward something beautiful and horrifying. There's a lot more horror in the actual Nausicaa than there is. And Miyazaki, man, I really wish he did more manga because his artistry is on par with some of the top talent, top seinen is talent and just so good, so good. But this is a format I really hope takes off. Man, if they start printing Hajime no Ippo in that, oh, I have to sell, a kidney. Keep up with these motherfuckers. But yeah, that's the main stuff I read. I do recommend all of it, but Volume 2, Mars Chronicle, rough so far. I'm hoping Volume 3 picks up the ball. And if it does, fine. I'll be right back on board. If Volume 3's a little, I'm going to stick with it. I want to finish where he's going, unless it gets terrible. But Volume 1, really hard read. Really hard read just from a content perspective. It's a lot of bad stuff. And I'm a Berserk fan, so that's kind of saying something. Fist of North Star is just good fucking catharsis fun. It's what I love about the Punisher, except even more fun. Punisher's way dour and gloomy and fucking broken. Ken, he's a hero. And I love seeing that. I love seeing that. Um, Let me read. I don't know why I love monkey colors from the 80s and earlier books get reprinted. So bright. Oh, well, I'm glad. See, if somebody likes them, great. It's some books I think probably handle it a lot better than others. Unwilly. Bro, don't make you Fourth World. Holy hell. I bet you could. I bet you could. There's crazy, like, my buddy, he likes buying the actual, like, comic. I don't buy Western comic omnibuses unless it's like a short series, right? Like Bone. I got Bone there. That's kind of unwieldy, but it's 9 fucking big volumes in one book, right? It's gonna be. Uh, Fucking modern omnibuses that they print, like they're not even for reading, as far as I can tell. Like it's just so you can put it on your fucking shelf. The things like that, right? And you open it, and it's that is unwieldy. You are 100% correct. But I'm, of course, even going into smaller, smaller bits where it's like, it's not a 15-pound book. It's a pound and a half, 2-pound book. I find that unwieldy. I couldn't imagine omnibuses where you actually have to have the fucker on a table, and then you're lucky by the midpoint of the book if you can read the whole page. It's not the way I would collect those things. But some of it can't be collected otherwise, and then it's got that novelty like, here's all of this Deadpool, or here's all of this X-Men. That's neat. I get it for a collector, right? But as a reader, I want to be able to easily pick up a book, open it, tear fucking through it, put it down, and then pick it up again when I want to, without fucking lifting weights or. So Alita's not the worst thing. Again, those deluxe editions, just like the Nausicaa isn't the worst. I wish the Nausicaa was broken up into like maybe 4 volumes in that collection instead of just 2, just so they would open easier and such. The original Western printings were 7 volumes, and I enjoyed those quite a bit. They were the same size. They were the big format like that, but it's just easier to read, right? They're floppy, all that. I actually gave those to a buddy not too long ago. But if you're gonna do a hardcover collection of a manga, and I hope they keep doing these, this is how you do it. This is how you fucking do it. I'm gonna get right on volume 2, and I really hope this took off. It's a wonderful fucking series that not enough people have read. I'm so glad they had the balls to put it out in such a collection. Yes, sometimes those are too big. Afraid it'll collapse under. Yeah, like the binding and stuff, and if you're going to read it like these books, I'll probably never read 15 times, but I want to be able to think I can. Right? And an omnibus that big, it's just an accident waiting to happen in so many ways to me. But I don't know. I don't know. But I guess I can talk a little bit more about this until I'm done with it. And I'm getting there. I've got about a third of this left. If I was an artist, I'd probably be chomping through this and appreciating all of the textbook nature of it, the exercises, the discussions and framing, right? And like I finally got to the collaborative writer artist part and the writing part in itself, and it didn't do anything for me either, and I was really hoping that there would be something for me to latch onto. It's really good information, right? It's fucking stellar information. Making Comics by Scott McCloud, but as a read, okay, as a read, not as like a source of knowledge. Man, Understanding Comics, the first one, holy hell, that is a read. That is a wonderful read. You can tear through it, and it'll help you form this beautiful love with sequential art. This is like, let's break it down. I'll show you how to get it better, at least from as far as I know, and maybe it won't work, but here's some really respectful. Scott McCloud is crazy respectful from even what I had as a perspective of what making comics is, right? There's this freedom and joy to it, and he never loses sight of that as he's telling you ways he thinks you can improve. I find so much respect in that. However, it is still really dry if you're not like invested on an artistry level. Now, I'm going to continuously look through this because I need to understand this profession more. I want to understand the artistry end of it, and it has at times inspired me to want to draw. So that's really cool. But it's a incredibly harder read from my perspective as just a comic writer, editor kind of fella, than Understanding Comics was. Um, Still, if you're a creator, fucking pick this up. It's the textbook on it. Particularly if you're an artist, I think you're going to get so much mileage out of this. And again, at least it's so fucking respectful to the medium. Just incredible. It really is really good. It's dry. It's reading a textbook. Understanding Comics had the textbook bit to it, but then it was more trying to share a love. This is trying to. This is a teacher compared to say like a peer. I think that might be the difference. This is a teacher. The other one's more of a peer sharing something they love with you. This is a teacher trying to share something they love, but also trying to make sure you're getting the most out of what they're trying to teach you. And sometimes that can be harder. Almost done through it. It's shown up a couple times in what you're reading, just because I think 2 times before, because I'm having a hard time getting through it, but I'm getting piece by piece, and there's some neat, really cool stuff. It's nice to see someone break up like the writing on panels into different categories, and to kind of show you these are these ideas that are broad that you can integrate. It's neat. It's neat. It's just its value is a little bit lost on me because of the perspective I have going into it, right? So definitely worth considering. I don't remember what the third book is, but after I finish this, I'm going to look into it, and if it's very much similar to this, I don't know if I'll pick it up. But we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, super fucking respectful and could be exceedingly helpful. I'm probably gonna have to go through this a few times to pick up a lot of it, but like this stuff, right? Trying to show all different kinds of faces and how you can make different faces out of different expressions, and combining different expressions and how that works. Talks a little bit about trying to really work on your anatomy, but trying to more focuses on the emotion so far, because it really, that's the point. It's part of the more important part of the communication, right? It's good. It's good. It's just hard. It's just hard. Probably because I'm a bit lazy. if I'm honest, but it's good. And that was what I've been reading. As always, this has been open the whole time. I'm curious what you folks are reading. Let me know in there. We could talk about that. Otherwise, we will move on to personal updates, both on the comics and then on myself, because we are doing something for me that's been very impactful and I'm very grateful for, that I need to respect and show. But it's a very different vibe than the beginning of this where we're talking about reads, right? Um, yeah. Do I draw? No. Um, I don't have the patience. Like I have drawn. I have drawn. Like Jack, I drew Jack. I was the first person to draw Jack. But I don't have the stay with it, right? I don't have the discipline to be able to sit and do that again and again and then improve and then again and again. I haven't got that reward system where it's a long-term reward inbuilt into my brain very well. Um, that's my one of my big lacks just on the personality identity level. I'm not great with discipline on those levels. Um, Mundanity, even if it leads to great reward, I have great trouble with. Um, but I have drawn. I have drawn. Again, folks should be able to find that first drawing of Jack I did. First, I say it wasn't really the first. It was the first like I spent a lot of time on inking and drawing. But yeah, I just haven't been able to really sit down. Like I have had trouble with that with my painting as well. Not that amazing. Just because I'm too stuck in instant gratification, right? It's probably. Do I play an instrument? Yes, I do. I play bass and a little bit of guitar, and I sing here and there. In fact, lately, singing's been the highest practice. It's just easy to do going to work and coming back and shit like that. Even at work, just to have time move. So singing quite a bit. Bass here and there. I played bass when I was 14 to like 17 in a heavy metal band. A lot of fun there. We did we did bars. Uh, we did a tea house. We did a firehouse one year in Halloween. That was fun. Um, yeah. Oh, and I've recorded too. I've done recording studio stuff, which was really cool. But that's another thing that kind of has fallen behind, and I just sometimes pick it up to get the levity and the breath and the joy of it. It's really easy to get in that creative zone with music, and that'll carry me through, right? With drawing, I have a hard time getting in that creative zone. With painting, I have a hard time. Writing, I would say writing, I have a little bit easier of a time doing that, so that's why I write. Um, but yeah, I play bass and I play a little bit of guitar. Okay. Also, I've got this great little Nausicaa Tankuban box set. Tankuban. See, I've heard that term before. I don't know what it means. I don't know what it means. Let me look. Uh, Sent me some pics. On what? On what system? Found it. Discord. Gotcha. Oh, shit. Yeah. I see. Holy hell. I mean, it's really cool. You got, man, Jack Kirby. Fucking love Jack Kirby, man. Um, though, to be fair, the main work I have of his is the Demon, and I've had a really hard time getting through the Demon. It's fine. It's just those older comics are so fucking wordy. Again, I'm instant gratification, so I'm manga pacing. Boom, 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 done. Older comics, take it in, look at the art. Here's a lot of beautiful wording. Here's this beautiful way that we arrange the lettering so it flows smoothly, but there's a lot of lettering. Um, yeah, fucking love Jack Kirby's art style. It's got this psychedelic bit to it. It's got these wonderful angles and his creative fucking juices on everything. Just tops on every page. The reason he's called the fucking king. Just I have a hard time reading that. Now that's my prime example of Jack that I have. I haven't read much else that I can even like name off the top of my head. So can't speak much, but man, love that artistry. That cover to that fucking the logo and everything in this omnibus, so good, so good. But yeah, it looks lethal. You could kill somebody with that easy. Just drop it from even like maybe a couple feet. That's not good. Oh my god, it's so thick. Oh, oh, that's way better. That's what I was talking about. In just 4 volumes like that for Nausicaa. Oh hell, a little jealous because that would be easier for me to deal with. But those are nice. That set of reprints is nice. I'm so glad it's been reprinted so often. Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. Yeah, see, 4 volumes, perfect. Perfect. That's yeah. That's the size I'd want. And it even says perfect collection. It is perfect. Though these hardcovers are fine. They're really nice. And you can tell the love again and care's put into them. But perfect collection. I like it. I like it. Nausicaa is such a heart wrenching story. They completely cut out the whole exploration of motherhood from the movie, right? They kept it a teen kind of story, and she becomes a queen and a mother, quote unquote mother, and that exploration of horror to this new life that shouldn't be born but has no desire but to take care of his mother, and then, of course, the inbuilt animalistic desires, the fucking war machine, right? Ah, that whole angle they just cut completely the fuck out of it, but because, it's Disney and they wanted to release a movie for kids, right? So the worst we get is her and the Ohms having and the baby Ohm getting all fucked up, right? But the rest of it, man, and then the other princess, her arc is so much more fleshed out in the manga. You end up liking her, if I remember right. Whereas in the original, you kind of do, but her redemption isn't as strong. Man, if you love the Nausicaa, if you enjoy the Nausicaa movie, you'll probably love the books. Just so good, so good. You ever read any Golgo 13? No, haven't even heard of Golgo 13. Um, yeah, haven't done much. Let's see the manga I have. Dragon, Gunwitch Kirihime, which is just stupid fun, which they never finished printing over here, which sucks. Um, Dragon Ball, I got all Dragon Ball. I read all Dragon Ball multiple times. It's a fun, well-paced read. I really like the original Dragon Ball arc, and then after that, where you can tell he's trying to piece things together. There's really good moments, but you can tell he was done multiple times during it. It's like Cell Saga, that's gonna be it. Oh, you need another one. Okay, Boo Saga, that's gonna be it. And you can feel that with both, and it's kind of, but it's still really good. It's a funny. But the original Dragon Ball arc, when it's a gag manga, is my favorite Dragon Ball. Um, yeah, and then the Osamu Tezuka story, which is pure propaganda. I'm having a really hard time going through it. It's so dry. It's beautiful. It's well presented. You can tell they really respect it and all, but it's so dry. It is so dry, and it's just so propaganda. The guy can do no wrong. um, and then Alita and Nausicaa. Yeah, and that's the manga I've read. I haven't read manga very often until recently, where I started collecting these. I did read most of Gunwitch Kirihime online. I've read Berserk online. It's so hard to get a hold of those, and now it's getting a little bit better, but still, like with his death, those collected editions spiked up. All the single volumes spiked like crazy, and it was already like $400 to even catch up. Um, Berserk's a tough one to get into otherwise. Innocent and Innocent Blood is my favorite work of sequential art ever. It follows the French Revolution, particularly the life story of the main executioner, the right hand of the emperor during, or the king, I think it was king still at that point, during the French Revolution, and that whole arc, the invention of the guillotine. And it mainly explores humanity's desire for freedom, the problems with multiple social classes and their interactions, the grim realities of existence during that time, and it's just so powerful. It's horrible. It is absolutely disgusting, but it is so powerful, so powerful. Um, I tore through 176 chapters of Innocent between Innocent and Innocent Blood, which is the sequel that's more of the actual French Revolution's kicked off, while Innocent's the leading up to with this guy's life. And I read all those in one night. It was so good. Read that actually New Year's. That was my New Year's night this year. Was reading through those, and I just couldn't stop. And it's horrifying. Like the artistry is very well chosen to really impact when it needs to. And it's beautiful, it's playful, it's got that really kind of romantic, handsome look to characters that manga really likes, contrasting things. I really recommend those. You can't get it in as far as I can tell, you can't get an English translation of it in physicality. You have to find fan translations online. Really bothers me, um, but very much worth a read. Fucking amazing story, and like reading it during these times, um, a needed perspective. Best I can say it. But yeah, Golgo 13. Nope. Hadn't even heard of it. Apologies. But yeah, Nazca Perfect Collection. That looks good. That First World Omnibus. Lethal. Lethal, lethal. All right. Boom, 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 boom. All right, so let me check this real quick. Uh-oh. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing, Eliza Barr? What are you doing on Twitter here? Let me see. What are you doing? Help! I should read it. It's a long-running, excellent spy manga. The Fall of the Fourth Reich. Oh, I like the art style. It's more that older kind of Lupin, the not Monkey Punch, because Monkey Punch was really playful and goofy, right? 100% gag manga. It's got that era manga style to it by T. Saito. Into the Wolf's Lair. Golgo 13. Here, let me show. We're supposed to... Oh no, I've that's the benefit of two things, and I check things. I'm neurotic about checking things. Again, instant gratification. Social media's got me by the balls. Boom, 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 boom. Just so people know, because the art really hooked me. That looks great. I really like the facial look, and of course the angles. He's a very angular artist, but that's perfect for combat and very serious stories, right? It's not that loose round you get with Toriyama, at least early Toriyama, or you get with Monkey Punch where it's really just loose, almost scribbles. I fucking love Monkey Punch for that. But it's got that era's kind of vibe to it. It looks really good. Looks really good. And that's just a cover impression, right? I like that he's in the shadow. I like that your main points are like he's shooting at a motherfucker. Like you're supposed to know. This isn't just one shot. And he's super fucking serious about it. I like it. I like it quite a lot. There was an arcade game when you were a kid in the 80s. Very mysterious. The presentation's great. Presentation is great. And I like that is a well-read copy, Eliza Barr. That means that story's got some meat to it. I love seeing well-read books. Really do. It warms my heart. Warms my heart. All right. I'm going to have to put that on my list. You got me. You got me. But yeah, if there's any other reads you folks would like to talk about that you've been checking out or would like to ask me about, though I don't read everything, um, I definitely try to read a lot, but that is what it is. Um, yeah, this week the Western works were a bit of Judge Dredd and an issue of Gru, and a lot more manga. Fist of North Star, 2 volumes of Mars Chronicles, Battle Angel Alita. So you can see kind of where my vibe recently has been going, but still, I can do more. I want to do some quickies, IronVerse quickies this week. I need to do Adobe Kroger Dame Commander issue 2 still, and I want to do this, which I talked about last week. I also talked about this last week. I have one more volume of Lone Ranger to check out. I'm hoping to get through. I recommend this Lone Ranger run from, God, oh 08, something like that. Oh 09, oh 08, oh 09. It's really good. If you just want like a Western Batman kind of story, fucking A, Lone Ranger from Dynamite from that era. Pretty goddamn good. The artist has a little bit of an obsession with direct on shots, but he can do some really cool stuff. He can do some really cool stuff. Um, and it's really good. You know, Tonto's characterization is terrible. He doesn't seem to know really what to do with him, which bugs me a little bit. Um, he does do things with him, but like there's this vibe of mystery that comes off as he doesn't know what to do with him. That's the best way to say it. It doesn't come off as mysterious. It just comes off as like you just don't know what to do with him, do you? But he has an obsession with these front-on shots. I mean, there's a fucking million of these. Like every big panel, except for that one I just showed, is pretty much a direct on. And he's really good at them, but he's got an over reliance on them. But yeah, it's good. I mean, I wanted a more classic Western, and I got it. It's a little bit of Batman, a little bit of Punisher, um, without the gore. So it's I guess it's a little bit more superhero. It's no questions even meaner than Lone Ranger. But it's that kind of vibe, right? He has not in 4 volumes. I don't think he shot a bullet. Which or 3 volumes. I don't think he shot a bullet, which is really cool. And they talk about it. He even talks about it's like that's why I make him out of silver, so it costs. And then they call us bullshit because his fucking Lone Ranger cave, I'm gonna call it, is a silver mine. So there's silver all over the fucking walls. So it's like it's not really that big of a deal to you. This woman that like the silver mine, I think it's his sister. She fucking calls him off. And this, I posted this before. I'm gonna show it again because it's really cool. I really like this page. It's a bunch of forward shots, right? But I don't know. I love the paneling and the colors and the emotion, and it's just no bullshit. It's all art. Just a quick kind of comparison of two men doing the same thing, running towards the same thing, the bad guy and the good guy. It's really that's my favorite page of all of this. But yeah, so that's what we were looking at last week. But yeah, I need to do more IronVerse quickies. I'm hoping to get through. Get to Eclectic Coven and Adobe Kroger. Those are the next 2 on IronVerse quickies when I can. And yeah, that's what I've been reading. Was a quick recap of what I was reading last week. And of course, there's another issue of Gru there. All right. So, recommendations so far during this stream have been Go 13. And then, of course, the origin of Battle Angel Alita, which was Rimiko. Was that one? Reimko? Somewhere in here. I'm scrolling. And I still won't pronounce it right. I'm not finding it. Oh well. You can do quickies live, then crop them out as highlights in Twitch and upload those to YouTube as standalone videos. But then I'd have to actually cut things. I have very poor experience with video editing software, so I have used it and I kind of know how to do things. But again, right? We were talking about this. Instant gratification. I could just fucking record that video and upload it off my phone onto here and then just upload it and forget about it. Not the best way to do work, no question, but the way I can get it done. Sometimes, the way I can get it done sometimes. I could do quickies live, and I've even thought about most of them I've done via the phone on the lap, right? So you're just looking at the cover the whole time, and you get some movement or whatever. And sometimes I can show pages, sometimes I don't. That's great. I could do it like this, as well, but then get up and show you, right? Like I do with these, what you're reading. But I think I want to keep the distinct flair, right? It'd be nice if I could move this camera closer and focus it down on the table and make a better presentation of it all, but I don't know how long that cord is. It's a maybe. It's a maybe. In fact, honestly, overall, I'd like to pull the camera forward, but with the space I'm working with, uh, it's tough. It's tough. It's doable. It's tough. I think it's doable. But it would again instant gratification. This way, I can just flip up the camera thing and turn on OBS. The camera turns on. Boom! I'm ready to go. Uh, if I wanted to do stuff like that, I actually have to prepare and do a ritual to actually get it working. And that shows respect to your audience. It shows that you have dedication to your work, and it shows that you appreciate what you're doing. And though I have all those things, I'm lazy. Best way to put it. Not 100% the most honest way to put it, but a valid perception of it, a very valid perception of it. Um, like the most I've done with the video editing software is for our intro video on IronVerse Comics. When you go there, threw in the Cactus Coyote theme, did the whole IronVerse Productions intro, right, and then that cuts, and then it goes to a music video that we used for issue number three's campaign, or issue number three's campaign video, basically. That Dollar Coins put together because he's done a lot more video editing than I have. And then all I did was throw a movie projector filter over it, so it kind of moves and has a little bit more life. It was also done in 4:3, so it kind of helps give a little bit more dimension to the whole thing. And then like cut in like buy the comics, and I cut in support the work, and I cut in Laguna Munta stuff because he did the music, right. That's the most effort I done, and what was that, like an hour of work, because I had to figure it out on the fly, right. But it's really hard for me to sit down and do that kind of shit these days. There's so many things I'm doing. um, the other thing that I've done, because I've had to do it, is my phone sometimes fucking locks up, so I'm doing like a IronVerse Quickies, or I'm doing a mail day video, and the fucker locked. It didn't auto rotate, so I filmed it like this, but when I upload the video, it's like that, and so I've had to use the video software to and then upload that. And that's always a bother. Again, I just want to get it done. Most of the time, put it out there and move on. But I've had to do that a few times. I think about 3 times now. Big fucking whoop, and that's about 5 minutes now that I know how to do it. Oh, yeah, sure. Absolutely. I'm very curious about that because I like your setup. It's very clean, um, very direct, right? You can see everything very clearly. Your lighting's really nice. Again, your direct right on angle is really cool. Allows your hands to actually be free as well and be a little expressive. I appreciate that because with my videos, I have one hand and then one hand, right? It's not the best way to do it. Not the best way to do it. Oh, I see. Just on a deck. Yeah, I could do that here. Just need a brace, and then honestly, I could do it even with my phone if I wanted to. You just need a brace and then a clamp. Be nice to have a good lever like that though. But I could even I could easily cut some wood into a slide and then right angle and then cut out some kind of clamp for the really cheap phone camera. It's a GoPro. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. I do need to invest. Like getting this webcam was the first real video production investment I've done on this whole channel. Even the video editing software I use is Shotcut, which is freeware. Um, this camera's fine. I just needed something that one had a built-in tripod, which it did, or not built-in, but came with a tripod, and then a little fucking tripod, right? A little fucker. But I needed a tripod. I needed something to stand it up, and also had a camera close, so I could just leave it be, and then put that there, and then not worry about having to unplug it. I'm still, even with my fucking face out here and stuff, I'm still a bit of a privacy advocate where I can be. Um, Gives me a little bit of peace of mind that there's a physical thing in front of the lens, right? The mic is always on this camera, and I don't know if the mic on this camera is better than this mic, but I doubt it. Um, Also because it's not as direct. Um, I'd like to upgrade my setup because I'm going to keep doing this. I'm not going to stop doing this. It's an important form of expression for our work. Uh, but don't know when I'll get there. Don't know when I'll get there and have the ability and desire to invest on it. Um, Again, like the camera's $40. It's a cheap little fucking camera. But it's doing its job. I had to figure out lighting. That was the other one. When I started these and first had the camera, you'd have this near sepia tone over everything. So luckily, again, my buddy Dollar Coins, uh, he has more experience with film. That's just what he did. That was his goal. He's a screenwriter, and he worked in that as hard as he could in indie film and such for a good chunk of time. And so he's like, you need to get daylight bulbs so that the light comes off better. And that's what I did. I replaced my overhead over there with daylight bulbs, but they're really dim. So that kind of worked for a little bit, allowed some color, right? But then I was able to get a good daylight bulb on my little stand over there above my second monitor. And that's the one that causes the glare, but it also gives me this kind of spotlight without being overwhelming. So I like that. You tried webcam and it was absolutely garbage, so you just went back to using the GoPro. That sucks about your. I'm fine with this. I'm fine with this. I like it. I like that we got this casual air because I'm pulled back, right? And you see my table, you see the whole environment, and you see all of me laid bare, right? But it'd be nice to pull it forward a little bit so that maybe you're seeing from here up and you see more of the background with the trades and all that. But I also like that you see my wall. I like that you see my wall. So I don't know. This is working for now. This is working for now. Um, and I have no idea what definition this webcam is receiving. I'm outputting to OBS at 1080p, but that doesn't mean shit. Like I have no idea what the webcam's grabbing. You were telling me that. I remember you said that your cell phone camera was doing better quality than that webcam, which is hilarious. That's a trip. Yeah, this one's like this cheap little son of a bitch, but it works. It works. I think. I think. Oh yeah, no, I was just like, I just need these criteria, and I can only spend this much, and that's what I got. I don't even know what the fuck this is. Like I don't know the brand or anything. Uh, HD 1080p it says that's its brand. I think it was a generic because it came in like this really generic white box. Like I think it's just like a design that a company like sells as a huge brand name, right? And then sells the technical details and the patent and all that, licenses it out to a bunch of companies so they can make cheaper versions of it. And I got one of the cheaper versions. I think that's what it is. Again, I haven't tried the mic on it. I bet it's terrible. But it's got stereo mics. So it might be better than this. I don't know. But I know for sure that it would get the room noise like you'd be hearing the air conditioner right now. And we don't need that. Live streams do always crush the video quality. It can be sometimes on your end, but so we got to use the horsepower on my PC here, and then you got to output it to a server, and then that's got to come out, which is most online video, right? That's just how it goes. But when it's live, yeah, it's a little bit more. I know it does, especially like through YouTube and probably through Twitch as well. But Twitch is probably more geared for it. Um, I don't know. I don't know. But I know you lose some of it. I know you got to. But yeah, that's the setup here. That's what we ended up talking about is the live stream setup. Like this mic too, I have a shitty little muter rigged to it. It's a rubber band along a piece of old sock that I cut up to help with pops. It's a shitty little pop filter. I would love like a better mic that could be like right here. But then again, if it was a better mic, you'd get better quality of my voice. But you'd probably get that air conditioner, or if I was running my heater, or my computer's very quiet, which is nice. Uh, that's the two main like noise factors you might get. So minimal. You can minimize that to get a better quality voice, but this is fine. It's better than what I used to, and I like the wireless headset bit quite a bit, but I wouldn't mind like a nice mic right there. That'd be cool, but eh. Work with the tools you got, work for better tools, and continue the cycle, right? Yeah, it would be nice to pull that forward a little bit. But yeah, I was gonna do and talk about updates to things. So I guess I should start with updates about the work, and there's some cool stuff I could show off. So we'll start there, and then we'll finish with the other situation that it's really cool. It's just we'll get to it. I'm gonna put we'll get to it. So I'm gonna show you, which is gonna go up on Patreon here soon. I should probably have put it up on Patreon first, but eh. Again, so many balls being juggled. Boom, into the wolf's lair. Check that out. I'm definitely, in fact, you can see me do it. I will not forget about that. But we're going. Not there. That's a commission I want to get when I have the money. Is it this? Ah, yeah, it's this. Boom. We're getting some new Cactus Coyote pages in finally. We had people who have been following our work may remember that we ran a campaign for Cactus Coyote to finish a single Western issue in this art style with this colors and this artist and everything last year. And we actually were paying for and doing the pages during the campaign. We got 10%. That campaign did not take off. Timing and I don't know how many other factors. I probably did do a sort of campaign debriefing on it back in the day, but it was back in the day. This is 2018, I think. Um, maybe early 2019, maybe 2019. So I don't know. Time's moving quick. Um, so we're finally finishing what Dollar Coins is calling the Ash Can, which is going to be about 16 pages. So it's about half of what we usually do at IronVerse for a full comic. Um, to intro it, and we have Stephen Cannon on colors, beautiful colors, same colors for Jack Iron Steel Cowboy, and Andrea Boscolo on art, line art. And I'm super excited for this to be finished. Vince Rush, our letterer for Jack Irons, is also lettering it as we speak right now. So hopefully, in the next month or two, we will have this ready to go. And there's a couple ways we're thinking about dealing with it. My favorite way, the way I really kind of want to happen, is it goes in the back of issue number 4 as our bonus content. So you get a full 48 pages of Ironverse story content, and hopefully that will help bridge the gap between audiences and folks can see what we're doing as a imprint entirely a lot clearer. There's a bit of a disconnect with the Cactus Coyote IP and the Jack Irons IP. I get it. Um, Very different looking, right? But as we continue, you'll see it's that disconnect is a facade. It's something that can be moved past very easily, and you'll see even story content wise and the ideas and concepts that are being explored. It's just a different perspective looking at the same things. Um, but beautiful art. I'm really stoked with how this is coming out. And also, he has more of a focus on cheesecake than I do. So if you like a little bit of sexy, he's going to do that for you. He's our resident mangaka. You gotta give him that. Speaking of that, he is working on a 52-page reintroduction of the manga as we speak. It's actually storyboarded out. The blank pages are pages he's added and has not gotten to storyboarding out. Uh, Fucking excited for this. This bit right here where it becomes film reel is so cool. But there is many scripts I'm going to say that are just sitting there that I have read and I adore, and you folks will see if I have any say in it in terms of you'll see the books. We will get this manga or comic, however it gets forward, out. Um, it needs to be heard. But here's another page of it. Really excited. I love what Steve did with the background here with the galaxy. These are going up on Patreon here soon, and hopefully we'll start getting lettered pages as well. If I showed you, I think this tab, I would spoil. Uh, yeah, yeah, I would spoil the actual whole ash can because it's got lettered and stuff. He does. Well, I won't spoil it too bad. He does. Boom, boom, boom. Pre-lettering like I do, just to kind of get it done. Uh, but beautiful comic. Again, I think it's up to our standard for sure. It's just a bit more playful. It's a little bit more loose, which is Cactus Coyote. It's a little less serious and grimdark. Jack is depressing. It's got a sense of humor and it's got some love to it, but it's depressing. This is like you're seeing the hope in all of that the whole time. It's really cool. Um, but yeah, we got more Cactus Coyote coming, and that's been a wonderful wonderful boon for me during this time. And that it looks so good. Um, and this is one of the most detailed manga pages he's put out, and it came out just great, and it's such a fun page. Um, so a lot more of this is coming forward, and I'm really excited. Really excited for this stuff. That's the main updates on our main work, right? I'm still exceedingly hopeful that we will be finishing domestic fulfillment by the end of this month on Jack Irons 1 through 3. We're really close, and it's all been paid for shipping wise, so I'm okay. Like that's covered. It's just the process through my fulfillment guys, right? They got to take their time, and they're doing that end for free on the. I mean, it's a. I love Wicked Publishing for many reasons. Um, so I'm very hopeful that we'll be able to do that. If so, then I can start working towards issue number four's funding next month and hopefully launch in August. But I'm trying not to put too much on my plate at a time. And yeah, I'm super excited people are getting their issues. We've gotten some comments finally of people who have actually read the story as intended, which is 1 through 3, as quick succession as possible. And it looks like it's hitting how it's supposed to in that format, which is why I wanted to run the hardcover so people could get something solid. But issue 6, and maybe I'll try and do something more like this, where it is maybe even black and white and just fucking printed like this. You know, nice fucking smaller hardcover format for cheaper. Um, with a lot of pages. I think this is 376 pages. If we go to issue 6, we'll be at about 200 pages, so it'll be like that maybe. So that's not too bad. There's a little pick up and read. That could be kind of cool. I don't know. I'll have to think about it. It might work better as a bigger format and color. I don't know. But we tried that, and we got really far. We got way farther than I thought we would with how it was going at the beginning and middle. We got 76% funded. We actually made enough to have printed the issues but not shipped them. Pretty cool. Printed the issues, printed the hardcover books, which is cool. We had hit that, but we just didn't hit that end. So I wanted to present that format. I wanted it to be cleaner, and I wanted it to be kind of a phoenix rebirth of the work because of many reasons. Didn't happen. But moving on to issue 4, I'm really excited about that. I love the script. I've loved the script since I had the idea and put it together. It integrates so many lessons I've learned throughout this whole journey, and I think in really fun ways. But gonna have to figure that out. I'm hoping that'll fund. If it does, then release would be spring, hopefully spring next year, and I'd love to start next year on a cool foot like that. But we will see. We will see. That's the updates in the comic work. As far as I know, I've been dealing with customer service emails just fine. We've only had one sent back to us, a return to sender, which is really cool. And I was able to get in contact with the guy and get the proper address that's going back out. Very cool. I think at this point we've sent out probably about 600 books. Oh, there is one more bit of comic news actually. There's one more bit. Howdy, Brian. Um, better, better thanks to some amazing people who continuously give me better perspective. And welcome, by the way, as well. We were just talking about the comic work earlier. We did the Whatcha Reading, uh, Fist of the North Star hardcover reprint, volumes 1 and 2 of Mars Chronicles Battle Angel Alita, issue 27 of Gru, Gru the Wanderer through Epic, and a little bit of making comics. A little bit of making comics. And we talked about what some other folks are checking out and some recommendations they had. We also talked about live stream setups with Eliza Bar, very helpful. Uh, and we were just going to move on to the thing that has been an extreme blessing and was something I actually wasn't going to do. But I got some angels out there looking out for me that made that decision for me instead, and it's been incredible. So we're gonna go ahead on there. You get your Rags manga. Yes, sir, I did. Yes, sir, I did. I love it. I was my main concern. I think I did speak about this during a mail day. If I didn't link you, I'm gonna find it. Um, but let's go over here. Boop. There we go. I was a little worried that your lettering, since it was made for full size, would be tiny, right? Perfect fucking size lettering. I'm so glad it made the transition so well. Um, this is going to be probably my preferred format to read it. We were talking about unwieldy hardcovers earlier as well, unwieldy collected editions. This isn't unwieldy. I also like the texture on the cover. It makes it feel more rigid and rugged and tough. I really like that. Um, of course, you put so much care into all of it, and the Patreon ending is fucking great. That last pun of him saying his name, but it's fucking redacted. Uh, Killing a bunch of patrons and such. Just very well done. Bravo, sir. Bravo, sir. Uh, really impressed. I also this part right here, which I gave you shit about on the original trade paperback, fucking perfect. Really well done. Really well done. The whole GameCube thematics, you made it perfect, and the fact that it's almost a GameCube box size when it's the manga is really cool. Just the informature aping that for the presentation, so that there's no lies and you still have your ass covered, but it just looks great. The fact that one of the bits is Negromancy, sense of humor, brother. So good, so good. Yes, in short, yes, I did. But on to less so very amazing things, but more difficult things. Let's say that more difficult than all this fun with comics, right? Let me go on over here. I haven't actually even checked it today. I'm having a hard time wanting to boost it too much. Um, because we've actually hit a point where I can probably cover my ass all right, but every little bit's going to make my life easier for the remainder of this year because I still have to cover property taxes and find a way to finalize my dad's last bits that he left in kind of shambles and hopefully have a roof over my head next year. So let's go ahead and go on over here. So some of you may be aware over here. Yeah, this is a thing. Last month, I believe it was. In fact, I'm gonna go get that. I didn't set this up, right? If I had, and I did try actually, and this is one of the things I believe a lot of things happen as they need to, right? And it's funny too because I was overwhelmed. I got this bill on Father's Day, the audacity, right? My first Father's Day without the guy around, and somebody kicks me in the throat. Uh, but very polite kick in the throat though, so no ill will on that end. This is just how this shit works. So earlier in May, it looks like, yeah, May 25th is when it finished. So I think it was about a week. I had no water, and I didn't know why. to be fair. I just knew the well was out, and so we have a well share here. So the well is on my our property, and but it is connected to 5 houses. Um, and so when it goes out, everybody's out usually, and so that gets fixed and gets paid for, whatever. Um, it's happened a few times. October last year, it looks like on this invoice was another time, and that would have been when my dad was around to kind of help with that. But they didn't send the bill to him before he went elsewhere, and so uh, turns out why the fucking well went out this last time that required basically redoing the whole well. Um, was it was fucking struck by lightning. I didn't know what the fuck it was. Like, I had no idea. It was just out. As far as I well burst. The pipes weren't working. They were down there a while. They tried to replace, they replaced the pipes that were busted, and then they tried that, and then the motor wasn't working, so they had to come in and work on that and shit. And yeah, um, the first thing he did was replace the well pump and motor, replace the well wire from the meter to the well house, and the breaker. And then he replaced and dug a wire to the well house to the well. And then needed to put the new wire back in. From what he can tell, lightning hit the well motor, and the electric lines he had to replace every electrical part. It says lightning ruined it all. That was the plumbing work. That was fucking. Is there a total here for that? No, I have to add it up myself. That was 3600, 4100, 4800. $4,900 just for that part. But at the end of the day, they also had to get a backhoe up here to dig up the electric line from the meter to the houses, and dig from the well house so that they could replace the wires and then backfill on that. And that was another $2,400. And then there was all the pumps and prices, and then of course the actual labor. That came out to $10K. Nearly 11K, 10.5, and so split among 5 houses, right? That's about 2K a piece. In addition to last year's bills that they never brought to us, which was another grand, basically. Um, Total 11,457 divided by 5 families. I need $2,300, and so I've been working hard. Uh, I picked up more hours at my work, and I was blessed to, right, this year. It allowed me to get footing under me, take care of the house bills, right, take care of the animals. Uh, I got on food stamps to take care of the food. Um, so I had footing under me, right? I had a base to at least work from. In addition to fulfilling this campaign, which I spent most of the last year fixing my fuck ups. And so that savings was untouchable. I have a duty in one place and I have a duty in another. They're not the same duty. I fuck with one, I'll fuck with the other. I don't do that. Um, but luckily, even my dad's final expenses in terms of the cremation and stuff, I had a buddy who helped me out with about a third of the cremation fees. My dad had some savings, which took care of that end, at least a part of it, and actually helped me continue the first couple months, right? I was able to pay property taxes, so that was taken care of for this year. I was able to, same week that my dad passed, I had what I thought was my first date in a long time. And that day, my truck busted on me. Like, I got all the way to town. I was just getting some money to go get the coffee with her, and the fucking truck wouldn't start anymore. And luckily, it was within walking distance of the coffee place we were going, so I was still able to have that. And then she was able to take me to my truck and see if I can get that going. I couldn't, so she was able to take me home, which was really nice. And got that towed, so I needed tow fees, and then had it towed to a mechanic so we can just get it done because it was the only vehicle we had working at the time. Still is. Um, and that was another $400. I believe he had to replace something to do with the throttle. Um, I don't remember what part it was, but so my dad's savings took care of that, so I can at least get back on the road. There was a good week and a half where I had to get rides to and from work, which was, again, I'm very blessed with some very good people who are really helping me out. Um, but that pretty much all of these things kind of wiped out the extra I had. But again, I was able to, and still am able to, at this point, take care of the ongoing bills, right? The things that are every month. Uh, and feed myself and feed my animals and pay for gas and, live, right? Um, this, however, I could not do. And so I come home Father's Day from work. Decent day at work. I love my job working with animals. They bring a smile to my face, and I get to keep them safe and let them have fun, right? And fucking good job. Um, I see a letter in my door, and I'm like, oh God, I know what this is, because I knew the name on the front of it. Um, so I went inside first thing I did, and I looked at it, and I saw the price, and it fucking broke me. Um, so next thing I do is I call them to make sure that they know, I got this bill. I respect you. I don't know how this is going, so I tried to learn. And it turns out that the neighbors already paid it because they know the plumber and they wanted that end taken care of, and they can. Um, so then I explained, I'm gonna have to get you it in payments, right? Only way I could figure it out, and usually this time of year, and as far as I was aware, it was supposed to happen. I still haven't heard back from the guy. I have another gig that's much more well paying because it can be a very dangerous job, and it's pretty much off the books, with hot air balloon crewing, um, pick up, drop off, setup, and very a lot of people get hurt in that. But again, it pays well. 10 days at that job, 20 days at that job, um, and that includes some decent tips, would have taken care of this. So I would be okay, right? I have 3 days open a week to do that, and give me a couple months while he's here to do that. I could take care of it, but it would have to be in installments. I haven't heard back from the guy since he first said, "Oh yeah, we're flying this year. You should be flying. It's cool. You can only do those days. That's fine." And then for weeks I was hearing like he'd do a group text to alert everybody when there's days flying and such, and it'd be days I'm working, so that's fine. One of these times I'm going to get an extra day. That's fine. It's been weeks now. There's nothing. I don't even get like anything from those group texts anymore. I have no idea if somebody got hurt. I have no idea if he's still flying out here. I have no idea if he set the days I could work as his break days. Nothing. And I'm reaching out again tomorrow, and if he doesn't get back, I'm just going to assume it's closed. But usually, and that's where my hope was, But anywho, all of that hit me. During this, especially on the day it decided to hit me, um, it was a lot. It busted me good because I've only got a couple things I really care about on this sphere, right? Like really care about, uh, and on Father's Day, worrying about having this extra. Anyway, so I was and still am a bit distraught over the whole situation, right? So I dealt with it with respect, and we got that worked out. And she was good about, you can work it out. And I kind of gave her a time frame, how long it might take. And that's assuming I had the ballooning going, but I could still cut back on some things. Um, but same day, I started gathering my dad's old tools. He was a carpenter for, God, 65 years. So a lot of older stuff that I can't use, that's around. So I started gathering that on Father's Day to sell. Stuff that we have vehicles here and we have this house here, but due to him not leaving a will and some more complications due to how old the man was and his how interesting a life he led. I'm gonna say. Finalizing, even though I'm the only child, his final stuff through probate is something I believe I need legal help with. So I haven't jumped on it just to get it done because I don't want to end up in prison for doing something stupid that I don't know what I'm doing, and gets even more complicated because he didn't finalize my mother's stuff correctly, as far as I can tell. So I also have to figure out how that is um, with all of this because it's a complicated situation that I just don't want to dive in like I dive into a lot of things and just get done and later have it come completely destroy my life, right? Uh, so I can't sell these vehicles that are around here that are busted to help pay for this bill. I can't sell a lot of things, but I could maybe sell some of his tools, and I can maybe sell my things, some of my things, of course, and some of my mother's things. And so that's what I did a good chunk of Father's Day, just to try and do something, right, to find a footing so that this wasn't so scary. Same day, I'm alone in a lot of things. So I reach out where I can, and Dollar Coins has been a consistent foothold on this insanity I call life for me for a good amount of time. And he recommended do a GoFundMe. So I'm like, okay, God, I might need to. Maybe I can get a little bit of the edge taken off, get the first payment, get the second payment, something to help buy time so I can figure this out. And I try, right? I try to log in, I try to do it, and it just won't do it. So I give up. I'm just like, okay, take a breath. You can do it tomorrow. It's okay. It's not world ending. Just breathe. Try and live with what this day is doing to you, and just move forward. Don't let it don't let it beat you. Hours later, he has one up for me, um, and is promoting it, and I roll with it, right? So by yesterday and Monday, one of the first things I did, one of the first, I keep saying that. One of the things I did do that day also to kind of breathe is I did put out, since I couldn't do the GoFundMe, I put out like you can support our comic work and a couple bucks here and there will make a big difference. You can buy merch, that'll make a big difference. You can help us on Patreon, that'll make a difference, anything. And of course I throw out a PayPal, just, you never know. And got a few through PayPal again. This is not the first time I've had to ask for help. I did it at the beginning of the year as well, and that has also carried me through a lot of these bills, especially the more unexpected ones, the harder ones. And so with the GoFundMe up, I adapted and started showing that out as well. It's hard for me to. I'm a very prideful individual. As I said in my thank you video that I also released because of a very kind individual. Um, Now there's a pair of them that are extremely kind, but just everybody who supported and spread the word of our work and situations I've been in. Um, I'm losing my train of thought. All this is very emotional, but the point is, we're at $825 on this. The original goal was the price of this, which was about $2,400, just to make sure I can get everything covered. Um, Thanks to an amazing individual who does not like GoFundMe but was willing to PayPal me. I'm like, okay. I get this DM on Twitter. And he's like, I'd like to help you out. I don't GoFundMe creeps me out. Do you have a PayPal I can hit you up? I'm like, yeah, thank you so much. Any little bit will help. I fucking go in and there's $1,000 added to it. It still fucking breaks me. I don't. The blessings I've been afforded are fucking mind breaking. So I got a hold of this person. I was like, that's way too fucking much. Like, no. Um, but we're talking. There's no fucking strings attached, and the as I said in the video, I'm a prideful individual. I think we need to carry ourselves as best we can so we can carry others. It's one of our duties here. Um, but that does mean if you are trying and doing that, that sometimes you will need to be carried. And I'm trying to get that perspective into my fucking head, and trying to understand that it's not something I I can't pay forward. It's not something I can't earn up to and honor and hell even maybe do better by, right? Um, but anyway, uh, on PayPal, through the PayPal donations, we hit $1,250, and with this we've hit 125. So we are in the realm of me simply being able to pay the rest off. Dollar Coins and myself are kind of thinking that maybe I'll give it this week and then close it out and withdraw everything and just pay, and then pay whatever else I need to as I can. But that it would be kind of goofy not to, since we've already gone this far, not to try and save my butt entirely. But this kind of shit, man, it's tough. It's beautiful, and as I said, it's a beautiful insanity, but it's insanity, right? It's I don't come from like a well-off family. I came from a very smart uh, family who put their money into things that were good for living. Uh, my dad, again, he was an old man, so he had that perspective of owning things, maintaining them, and building upon them so that you get more out of what you spent by your own hard work. Uh, and this, I don't. Nobody wants to be a charity case, and I don't like being a charity case. And I'm consistently told it's okay, you've done good. This, you wouldn't be receiving this if you hadn't. But it's still a tough one. It's still a tough one. But I am unbelievably grateful that this, along with a lot of the other things that have been hanging over my head and put me into some really sorry states, um, that I'm not alone in any of it. So anyway, this is a depressing part of the video, and really apologize about it. But I need to honor it. I need to be honest about it. I need to put it direct and front and center, um, because I don't know how else I could ever deal with it. Um, Both because it's absolutely amazing and wonderful, but also because it's big. it's it's something important. It's something that needs to be respected. And though I'm not in the best place to respect, to to pay it back, to pay it forward if I can, to grow upon it. That just like when I first thing I did, within 5 minutes of coming home, I'm nearly breaking seeing this and seeing the price and seeing the perspective of it all. Um, I had to call and let them know, I acknowledge this. I'm not running for this. I'm not going to say, oh, I never got that. That's that ain't right, and that's not how these fucking things get resolved. And I'm running for a lot of things this year, but also because I'm trying to buy time to hopefully allow certain things to fall into place. Part of the Kickstarter campaign was a foolish hope that we could make a good profit, and that would also help me deal with these things. It would allow me to put the work in a better perspective out there after having it having my blindness to something, my naivety and such. I keep wanting to say taint the work. It's not 100% tainting the work, but there is an icon, a symbol, a symbology that is embedded in my printings of this work from this last campaign that many people worked exceedingly hard to get out and to get done and put their heart and soul and artistry into. That just, oh, it pisses me off so much, and it breaks me that I allowed that to happen. Um, it's something I will never forget. And for that, it has great value. But and my team was fine about it. Comparatively, they were okay about it. Nobody fucking jumped ship or got all pissed off or did anything. Still, I mean, they were again. I confront the hard things directly and honestly, and if it destroys me, I did my best, right? Um, that's the only path forward I know. Um, and it's continuously worked out, but anywho, the hardcover, I was hopeful. I thought new platform, new chaos energy, a premium presentation, um, and there was a couple slips on my end for one because I'm so tired. I am so tired. All of this has just been unbelievably draining. Um, I didn't reach out as much as I maybe could have to places I maybe could have to really push it forward because there were angles I just couldn't deal with along with the perspectives that I was given before I ran it. Uh, that mark, that black spot. But man, I'm unbelievably grateful, and I know expressing gratitude and respect is at least the bare minimum, and so I am just so grateful for you folks not, sticking. Been a million times that people could have destroyed me, a million times. There've been many times maybe I even deserved it, right? Since I got on here, since I started trying to put this creative energy out into the world, right? Million times. Million times it could have really threatened people. A few times it has. Uh, but even still, you know, it hasn't attracted maliciousness. It's only attracted some absolutely incredible things. So okay, one bit of maliciousness, very clear maliciousness, and maybe not even maliciousness, but like this facade that was hiding maliciousness. Um, but I'm grateful for this journey. Even if it doesn't go much further, right? It's given me a lot of amazing gifts and carried me through some exceedingly hard times. I spend all of us spend all our time up here, but some are able to redirect that attention or have more social inclinations to be able to share that energy, right? Um, I have a hard time with that. A very hard time with that. Uh, and so I can end up in cycles that are very dangerous cycles. Uh, and this work has given me unbelievable perspective on this whole thing. And just thank you all so much, I guess is the best way to say it. Um, it's just crazy. Life's a fucking ride, man. I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for the real downhills with the bumps that kick you off and get you rolling, and so that you have to decide to pick up. I'm grateful for those, but doesn't mean they're fun. It doesn't mean they're fun. And I was recently told that was a maybe a massive factor in why the Kickstarter didn't fund is I've lost perspective on fun. I really have. Like even the games I play and the things I read, it's all feels like a duty, not so much play. And I'm hopeful I can find a way to find my way back to play. I'm trying. Last night was a good one. I got drunk and I tried to engage in a playful manner. It was enjoyable. I got through it. Here I am this morning, right? But everything's going to take time, and I just hope I can stall for enough of it to get everything done how it needs to get done. And quote unquote stall. It's more like I have this time and I'm taking it more than rushing through it. Anywho, let me look through these. Yeah, the internet tells you that comic writers are rich rock stars. How can this be true? Yeah, this industry has an image problem there. We have like no actual rock stars. The few that are put forward don't even leverage it enough. Like we had one rock star for a long time there, Stan, and like since we haven't had anything close to it. That's not. I know none of us could have known. You know, you look at it from hindsight, and it's a lot harder to say that for me, right? A lot harder for me. I mean, how he'd speak, the demographic he went to, the people he met, stupid fucking young naive kids like me who have very little adult fucking experience, and so, oh man, I could go for. We don't need to, but it's harder for me to say that, Brian. Um, it's fair for you to say that, and it is most likely truth for you to say that, but for me it's a harder perspective for me to hit and such. You're just pissed you had to find out the way. Yeah, me too. Um, um, yeah, you folks. I mean, I'm so grateful you went about it how you did, Brian. Again, I told you that day. I've been overwhelmed this year, and I would not know how to handle any of that. And so, with it being pushed out as hard as it did, and I still don't think I handled it great. I mean, my team was pissed at me for how much I focused on it, but you can still hopefully tell it's sticking fucking with me. It angers. I have a lot of self anger, right? So when I fuck up, it's hard for me to let that go. Somewhat because if you don't lose perspective of that, you can build and avoid it, right? Learn from your mistakes. But there's more there. That's just shit I got to work through on this whole fucking journey of life. Shit I came here with. But yeah, and you shared a little bit of it, Brian. That was just like, oh, fuck, I don't need to go further down that rabbit hole because if I got that wider perspective, I don't know if I could leave it. This perspective I can leave. I know it's fucked, and there's some fucked, but I can still leave it a little bit. You're going to feel better if you never have to look at it or have it brought up again. I do apologize for that. I really need to put that shit behind me, and part of it was trying to push out new versions of the work. I mean, we have 3,000 copies of Jack Irons that luckily issue number one. So I keep saying that because my perspective always wants to make the worst of things. You really fucked up here, but so the issue number ones are fine. The original printings of issue ones not so much. The issue number twos are fine. Original printings of issue number two also fine because we did concept art that issue. And the only reason issue number one isn't is because of a piece of art that Wenger did. That's in there, so it's another degree of separation, right? And it's the same thing in issue three. Because it's a piece that illustrator Monk did. But see, Wenger did that piece on his own, from his own desire to do it. Illustrator Monk was commissioned by the individual. I don't know. There's a different connection there, right? And I appreciate Monk. There's no that. I mean, he felt so bad. He felt so bad. There's nothing there with him. But just me. And it's just one piece in the back. It's I take things really hard. Again, it's just something I have to work on, and I would have liked to have a different format to push that doesn't have that. I would like to not have 1,000, and it is 1,000 issues of that out there. Um, and 500 which I still have to sell, or find a way to get rid of. But my perspectives need realigning here and there, and that was a major part of it. But there's other parts of it like just fucking breathe, and that's until I brought it up with the team and was directly honest and forthwith about it and said like, how do you guys want to deal with it? I'm fine with whatever, do whatever you need to do. You just need to know this and what it is and such. And speaking with them, it was it gave me perspective. But before that, man, I couldn't stop beating the fuck out of myself for it. Because it's one of the things that means the most to me, and it was literally someone striking at my heart. Me letting someone strike at my heart. It's tough. It's tough. But again, it does not need to consistently be, but it's something I know I need to learn from, but I need to learn from it from the proper perspective. So vocalizing it, even just for me thinking, it can help start that journey for it to be in the right perspective. So thank you for that. Oh shit, John McAfee just died in prison. That guy had a hell of a journey, didn't he? Crazy motherfucker. Bro, I didn't mess up. He was a pretty cool sounding guy, and I think we all thought that his book was going to be. Yeah, that's what I thought it was. Like, exactly, Lady Death, Vampirella. I thought it was that vibe. It was a little bit more edgy, but we were in an edgy fucking time. People pushing boundaries, and thought that was fine. Ugh. The thing is, what people don't know. Yeah, and I'm so sorry about that, Brian. I'm so sorry that that connection manifested in your life. You didn't need it. None of us did. And I think from a certain degree, why that connection manifested is because there was something there that could be connected with. Is the best way I could say. But nonetheless, the entirety, fuck that. I can't imagine, and I just know one extra detail of shit that I don't need to know, right? That's more than enough for me that I will be taken to my grave, but I can't imagine the entirety of yours, brother. I can't. And I am, it's not my business in terms of, it's not my place to say sorry, but I am sorry for that. And none of us fucking needed it. But you handled it properly. You handled it right, and I am grateful for that. Anywho, pushing past that, pushing past this year, um, and pushing into again one more time gratitude for helping this not be a fucking anvil over my head, thanks to some amazing people. Um, just I am exceedingly grateful for that one stick of exceedingly disgusting thing. Um, I've been exceedingly blessed by putting out this creative energy into the world and being myself, and that's something I didn't think this world would ever accept. I continuously think it's something that this world wants to destroy and devour, uh, and in a way it does, but that you can find footing, not just within to survive that, but without. That it's not all that is just, it's an amazing gift to me. Besides just giving me room to fucking breathe, it's incredible, and I'm exceedingly grateful. Thank you folks so much. Yes, excited for it. Excited for it. Sailor Rogowski, Part 1. Fucking incredible. I love the more superhero, of course, manga direction, but the you know, you read this, you folks grounded it. It's a grounded, realistic, gritty zombie story with a lot more layers. I'm not minimalizing what it actually is, but in terms of the face. the face of it, right? Sailor Rogalski and what Luigi's done with the scale, what the team has fucking done with the scale and the scope of it all. Oh, it's so fun. You've gotten to that level of where superheroes become icons, right? Become these symbols, this bigger, more grandiose thing. But you folks have been able to keep the grit is the word I'm going to use. The hardness, the weight in it. And it's an amazing combination, and I am so excited to see where you're taking it, and I am stoked to see part two. Definitely going to do that. I'm stoked that it's out this weekend. Uh, for us, just got a couple pages of Cactus Coyote I showed earlier. 3 pages to be exact. One piece of the manga, the redone manga he's doing, as well as 2 pages from the Ash Can that we began last year that should be finishing in the next couple months and actually be able to do something with it. Again, I'm hoping to pair it with issue 4 of Jack, in the back as the extra content, so it's all in-house content I can trust. But we'll see. We'll see. Need more Busta, dropping rhymes like bodies in the club. That sounds like something we all need. Sounds like something we all need. But anywho, grateful for this. I'm not putting the link in chat or anything. It's more than enough already. I'm going to do twice a day for the next couple days till the end of the week probably, till probably next Monday, just so that we gave it enough time to do what it needs to. I don't want anything above the goal. Anything above the fucking goal is getting refunded. And I'm exceedingly grateful for the help. This fucking lightning struck our well. Just this year, man. Like, we had the thing that was building and then was finally revealed. We had my dad going when I'm not here. We had I'm just this year is really tiring with trials, things that are fucking lightning struck the I don't, you know, you got to have hope and faith that you're not given any challenges that you can't rise to, and if you are and you did your best and you fail, um, you know, there's nothing else, that you could have done. So that is what it is. Anyway, thank you so much, folks. I'm gonna go ahead and move back on over here. We don't need to share that anymore. I don't know if I have anything else straight to talk about. I think I covered all the bases. We just hit over 2 hours. I think the last 45 to hour of this is this depressing shit, which I am apologetic for, but again, it's important that it's out there and that it is engaged with and it is respected and all of that. This is what you're reading in updates. uh, Doing these every week. I'm trying to make it every new comic book day now. It used to be either a Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on how I'd feel. Some mornings I wake up and I just want a cup of coffee and then I want to come say hi to you folks. Some days, not so much. Today, I woke up pretty rough because of the drinking last night. And I was hyped yesterday to do what you're reading, right? But I just I haven't read enough. I need to find more space to talk about more good things. So take the time yesterday. Turns out I ended up reading Mars Chronicle Volume 2 yesterday, and then I read the rest of stuff we talked about. I read the Gru and the Judge Dredd earlier. I guess I can do the recap on what I read. Do not read this again. I need to go straight through Rags again one of these times. In fact, I want to do an IronVerse Quickie on either the entire series or issue by issue. I haven't decided yet because there's a lot to talk about. I try to find the holes and poke them a little bit when I can. So I'm excited to see if I can find any here with a refreshed perspective, right? It's gonna be hard though. Didn't give me an easy job on that. New Age Ninja Corps did not. So what I like to do at the end of these videos, and anybody who watched this thing will see the complete disconnect between the first maybe 2/3 of the video, and the second half, I do apologize, the tone shift was blatant. There was a small transition when I talked about our personal comic work, but that was very short. So I do apologize for that. But again, things need to be addressed and put out there. We talked about Judge Dredd 23 from Titan, from fucking, I don't even know when this was printed. Um, 88, 1988. One of the main points I focused on this was the fact how much, besides the bitchin' Simon Bisley cover, um, boom, 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 do it. Show me those very large murder machines, the bricks of books. Besides that bitchin' fucking Simon Bisley cover, again, probably my favorite piece of Judge Dredd artwork. I talked about the British style of rendering comics from that time, which I just fucking adore. The gritty line art, everything. You'll find very similar styles. They were looking for that style. I find it in Black Library 40K books from that time. I find it in 2000 AD, and you find it in heavy metal as well. Fucking love it, and I wish it hadn't disappeared. After we talked about this and the storylines in it, I showed this fucking monstrosity that I haven't been able to read, but I need to show it because the cover, right? The cover's fine. It's just a unique take on Judge Dredd, right? It's not bad. It's hyper detailed. And then I was really pissed about this. That's like, oh well, here's an actual Dredd. Look at that. And then you go to the next fucking page, and you get a little bit more of what you're going to see, right? It's a gentle, soft line art, but it's still hyper detailed, so it could be okay. And your first fucking panel. And then I keep going through it and trying to read it, and okay, look at this, look at this. I just opened it randomly. This artist isn't bad. Look at the hyper detail in that fucking scene. Look at that. Let me see. There you go. Look at that. That looks cool. But the tone is terrible. The concept is treated poorly, and it's a hard read. I haven't been able to get into it. I don't think I've read the first issue because a lot of the art is actually just this kind of shit. It's not shit, but it's not Judge Dredd. It's not the tone you need to put forward for it. And so I then use the discussion about this, to talk about Sergio Aragones, who does soft, playful, hyper detailed line art, but uses it to serve the story, not just because somebody needed a job and a well-known IP to get their career going or pushed forward more. Um, and that's a little bit hyperbolic. I don't know that, but that's the vibe I get with that piece of Judge Dredd. But then, yeah, we talked about Gru, issue 27, and I will never stop praising Gru. We're going to read a Gru issue and talk about a Gru issue, every one of these What You Read, until I am out of Gru issues. Funny book. Definition of funny book. Definition of heart and playfulness and enjoying what you're doing. You know, if I want to get back to fun, I need to read more Gru. That should help. Just fucking amazing sense of humor. The recurring gags are starting to really build up. Self-contained stories. Double page spreads that are incredible. It's just fucking footing in what a funny book that's just like heart and wants you to have fun and then move on is about. And there's something very magical about that. Then we spoke about Mars Chronicle Volume 1, which is just heartbreaking. There's nothing else to it. It's just children in war. Just again and again. Just adding layers to who Yoko, who then becomes Alita, is. Which hopefully again will play into other things. But it was literally just here to give you that perspective of children in war and the multiple facets of such a naive sets of personalities having to deal with the immensity of horror that is that. And yeah, not a fun read. Not a fun read. Beautifully artistic. As always, just fucking gorgeous artistry from Kishiro. But yeah, recommend Volume 1 if you got the heart and you've been reading so far, right? Don't pick this up as your first Battle Angel Alita, you will not get a good impression of the series because it has very little to do with the series and very much to do with the character and what the series wants to do with the character. But start with Battle Angel Alita. Just start where it wants you to start. Then we spoke about Mars Chronicle, Volume 2. Jumbled mess that feels like it was exceedingly hurried, like he has a million ideas he knows he needs to get out quickly. Again, the artistry is fucking killer. But the character interactions were rushed. Personalities had changed quite a bit. There's a 3-year jump between the end of Last Order and this, and I don't know if personalities are supposed to have changed that much. There's some awkward like dialogue exchange that doesn't make any sense. Introduces a bunch of characters, reintroduces some characters. It's rushed. It is just rushed. But then we spoke about World of Mist. And very lightly, because I don't want to spoil that. If you can read World of Mist, please do. It's included in the back of Volume 2 of this. It is a Japanese sci-fi short story award winner, for good reason. This fucker made me cry. A lot of really good works can, right? But not all. It's uncommon. It's uncommon. Beautiful exploration of a very weird thing. How to say? You follow a young man in a very broken world. Very weird world, is I guess would be better. It's off. Everything's off. Everything feels off. It's kind of familiar, but it's off. And you find him finding another person in it, and then it explores the situation in that and like kind of what it is and the mechanics of why it is. But only so it can explore this relationship between these two characters. Kishiro, Alita's mangaka, did the art on it, and it was written by another mangaka. And it is just wonderful. It is just wonderful. If you can find it, check it out. There's a reason it won that award, and I'm always happy when something gets accolades that deserves the accolades. Often that's more uncommon than it should be. And that's the best part of that volume too. uh, Then we spoke of Fist of the North Star, and I mainly spoke about how awesome this fucking print quality is. The story is incredible. I fucking love it. The first chapter is one of my favorite character intros in all of sequential art. But you can feel the adoration and love in the printing. And that is so rare. That is so rare. This is the #1 fucking printing I've ever felt that in. And I've got a lot of nice collected editions for things. The deluxe edition of Battle Angel Alita. It's really nice because it's bigger. We spoke about this earlier in the video, so if you're really curious, you can kind of look at me, compare those, and talk about it more. But just totally worth the fucking. I got it pre-ordered for like $16 through Amazon. Fucking amazing. I tore right through it. The story's great. The pacing's where it should be. It's just catharsis after catharsis after catharsis. Again, I tried to start the anime again and again, and it slows things down to pad out to the length of an episode, right? This doesn't have that fat, so it's just whoosh, and it hits directly, it hits hard. Amazing. Super excited for Volume 2, and if it's treated with as much care as Volume 1, even if they just change the front here, put Volume 2, and then just keep Fist of the North Star like that, or if they just keep this cover and just put Volume 2 there, I don't really care. I think that would work. But I hope they change the cover. And here's a nice thing I didn't talk about that was kind of confusing to me. And maybe somebody can enlighten me if you're familiar with manga from this time. But how common was it that you'd get a color in manga pages? A few chapters of Fist of the North Star have this orange. He uses it to represent fire first. So I think maybe that's what he's trying to use it to represent throughout that chapter and the pieces that he chooses. There's a couple chapters that have that. And I don't know if he just had extra time and they wanted to try something or what that's about. But I did find that interesting because, to be honest, the regular line art looks better without it. But you can see that they could do. Again, I'm going to show these again because they're fucking gorgeous. They chose to put glossy pages for these opening colored pages because of how fucking beautiful they are. But then it transitions to more classic manga paper, and it just looks so good. It looks so good. This is the most care I felt in a printing of a work, and I'm sure there's better. I haven't read and felt and held every collected work, right? But as far as my experience, this is the fucking pinnacle of how you can collect and honor a work, and so good, so fucking good. And of course, the story's just fucking epic. I did mention that the ending of it is like the start of another arc, and it bugs me. But that's the point. It wanted to have a hook, a cliffhanger in it, and well, it does that. It does finish a full arc though, so I can't be too mad. You get the opening arc, but then it's like, here's an extra chapter, and you're like, where the fuck is the next volume? It pisses me off, but I also love it and understand it. And I spoke about this as a writer, editor. It gives you perspective on what the artist is going through, but if you're not an artist, it may be a very hard read. It is for me. Um, Compared to understanding comics, which was fucking incredible. Just on giving you perspective and sharing what I said earlier. This is a teacher trying to make sure that you improve on this art that you both love and understand. Understanding comics is a peer sharing their love with you. And I think that's my disconnect. I really enjoyed understanding comics because it just comes from this exuberance of love for sequential art that is not an authority or controlled, right? This is about trying to sculpt a little bit, and not in a way like it's super respectful of what comics is, which is an amazing medium with infinite potential. And he never, every time he puts out like these hard rules, he makes sure to say these aren't hard rules. These are tips, ideas, things that have worked for me, things that I've heard work for others. These are categories that help me think about these things. None of it's necessary. It's kind of what he says, but it can be helpful. And so it's a little bit harder, particularly because it really does focus on the artistry end of it. And even when it goes to the writing bits of it, it's still focusing on the artistry of the writing of it, which I know sounds kind of goofy, but it's the best way I could really vocalize that right now. Um, Hopefully, I'm through it by next week's What You're Reading, and I can give an overall impression because it's now been 2 or 3 What You're Readings talking about this because it's a difficult read. Making Comics by Scott McCloud. Good stuff. I definitely recommend Understanding Comics if you enjoy sequential art as a medium. If you're a mangaka, a comic book writer, creator, if you just enjoy the medium. It's a fun read, and it's just a love letter to sequential art, and it's just incredible. This is work. This is work, and that's okay. That's okay. But that's what I've been reading. As always, go ahead and tell me what you've been reading in the comments now or in comments later below if you got this far somehow. Um, Suggest things as always. I rarely can get a hold of them, but I like knowing what people are enjoying. So if I come across it, I can try and glean why. Particularly tell me why. That means a lot to me. I want to know why you're reading what you're reading. Um, how also, if you're physical, digital, whatever, and in that why, what's keeping you there? What's engaging you? What is keeping you there? Um, as Neostar, and by the way, welcome Neostar, um, had pointed out, he's reading Battle Angel Alita, and for me, it's in Battle Angel Alita, it's the exploration of identity and self, and what it means. How many pieces of the ship can you replace and it still be the same ship? That's basically the entire thesis of Battle Angel Alita, as far as I can tell. Mars Chronicle is spinning that a little bit, but I think now the pieces he's replacing is in the past. So again, by volume 2, it's a little jumbled. So I'm hoping volume 3 is like, oh, this is why it's jumbled. He's done that to me once before in Last Order, so I'm hopeful. Um, Haikuto no Shinken, which I believe is the Japanese Fist of the North Star title. Absolutely amazing. Again, this printing in English is just incredible. And the story's so good, and it reads so cleanly, and the pacing's perfect. And for me, Huge Bruce Lee fan for many reasons, as a philosopher, as a martial artist, as a human being on work, some cautionary tales on ego, as a creative force, fucking incredible. And then you throw in Mad Max, which is one of the many reasons I make comics. It's Fist of the North Star. I'm so stoked that got printed because I tried the anime. The pacing was so bad, and it takes a lot for me to want to go find a fan translation or a fan scan online. I'd rather support the work if I can. Innocent and Innocent Blood, I can't support the work on, so I have to go to fan translations. Hajime no Ippo, I have to go to fan translations. Bothers me because they are incredible works. But that's what happens, and I'm hoping as we continue to grow as a well-known medium, sequential art does, that those lines and those translations and things will manifest because the good work will rise to the top, right? That's my hope. And Fist of the North Star, that's the first clue that it has. I know they're redoing Hellsing, or have redone Hellsing in 3 really nice deluxe volumes, and I really liked Volume 1, the very first volume of Hellsing. Um, I got that for free at one point because I ordered Trigun and they sent me that instead. And they're like, okay, just keep it. We'll send you Trigun. Trigun's so hard to read, though. I'll talk about that one of these days again. Um, and I know Berserk's been getting that. I'm so glad Berserk's getting it. But it's still so hard to get a hold of Berserk. Berserk is one of the things I have cheated to read just because it's so hard to get a hold of and the story's so important and it can affect you so deeply and it's so powerful. So I'm going to support that when I can. Very sad that Miura didn't get to finish his tale. But we'll see how that goes. The assistants have been cryptic about things. They have work they can still do is basically the point I've gotten out of that. And so I'm curious what they mean if he had started pages and they just want to finish it, the pages that have already been begun, or if he had actually left you know a legacy behind that he wanted done or what. So I'm curious about that. But the Berserk I've read affected me extremely deeply, and he's sorely missed. And so I really want to have that on my shelf. It's an important work to me. Um, Eliza Bar here is making sure that I read Golgo 13, if I remember properly. Go ahead and show that again. I will try to. I'll see if I can get a hold of it. If it's old enough, there's a good chance I can get used copies cheap enough. And it looks good. Again, I really love that cover. Really love that cover. It's the same with me, actually. In fact, it is my third highest video and the only comic video that's really high in views. Um, where I just I went through the Twitter feeds and stuff because it was just so amazing. He got a hell of a send off, just emotionally and people's connections, and that was an amazing thing to be able to witness. So I wanted to make sure I got some of it down and how it personally affected me and to just I needed to. And Lizbar, your video is how I found out. Um, Hell of a thing. Hell of a thing. But it's not that sad. It just means a lot of people really appreciated his work and they were, glad that other people did. This unified collection. That's what at its best, that's what a fandom is. It is a unifier of a emotional resonance, right? Something that an icon, a symbol, a thought form that has resonated and bound people together. And sometimes it takes that thing passing into history to give perspective to that harmony, right? So I think it's a good thing. It's sad, but it's a good thing. Okay, so that's what I've been reading. That's the updates on our comic work and the updates on my personal life, and why I ran the GoFundMe, what the GoFundMe's for, why the GoFundMe lowered in price, lowered in goal because of the PayPal donations. I mean, $1,500 are just from 2 people, and I am so fucking incredibly grateful to those people. Um, And to everyone who's been helping out, man. Again, it's taking a massive extra weight that was going to be hanging over my head for a good amount of time, and allowing me to breathe. And that's an incredible gift to give somebody. Really is. This place ain't always that kind. It ain't usually that kind, if I'm honest. So, um, yeah, I doesn't really do it. I could stay a little bit longer. It's 2 o'clock though. I almost need to feed the puppy again. Um, Again, welcome Neostar. Thank you so much for dropping by. Thank you, Eliza Barr. Thank you, Mr. Brian Ball. Uh, and everybody stopped by. Dave, I believe, was back in here earlier. And I know you're talking about comic drama, and I think you want to talk about the Warren Ellis situation, and I just don't know enough about that situation. I know he's the creator of Wanted, and I know he had his foot in the door of independent comics, and that he used that foot to be a little bit of a creepo. And when I say a little bit, I have no idea the scale. Like, that's where my knowledge ends. It's like I don't know the circumstances, I don't know the scale, I just know that the fucker was a fucker. And there are a lot of those in positions of power. That's kind of how it goes on this fucking sphere, is power attracts certain types of people. Um, Certain people are willing to give up a lot of themselves for power, and those kind of people don't tend to be the best kind of people. Not always true. Not always true at all, but I mean, I've found evidence over evidence in human history that that seems to be the fucking sequence of events. It's just how it goes. So I have plenty. I have enough problems with authority that I'm not surprised. That's not the drama that you're talking about. Oh boy. Yeah, no, Warren Ellis was booted, right? He was booted like last year, year before. I don't remember when. He got in trouble, and they finally took action and kind of did the Me Too cancel thing to the guy. And so he's being brought back in now, or at least they're trying. And the other side of the comic community, the ones who kind of got him booted, are like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And that's the drama I'm aware of. If there's like CG drama or some other kind of stuff, I'm completely tuned out. I'm completely tuned out on that. Um, I think that's good for me. Um, but yeah, that's the situation I'm aware of. That wasn't Liza. That wasn't what you're talking about. So that's great. There's more. Um, as I said last night, drunk. I think comics is might be the most beautiful mess in art. A complete fucking mess. It's shambles up and down. Uh, but it allows such creative possibility and such wonder and magic. So there's you got to take everything with everything, right? Um, that's how I'm going about it. Anyway, it's like, yeah, but we also both from like, yeah, but there's good, but yeah, but there's bad. That's life, right? But Hollywood movies are able to hide it a little bit more professionally, right? They're not as low tier on hiding that kind of shit. A lot of business isn't. A lot of business can keep it, quiet. Um, Comics, it's terrible at that. It is terrible. It's so insecure as an artistic medium that it has to yell everything, and it's funny to watch. It's awful a lot of the time, but it's also kind of hilarious. I think we really need to feel more secure in how cool all of this is. But yeah, there is a Warren Ellis situation. And thank you, Dave, for coming by the way. And thank you for sharing your thoughts. That's one thing I'm going to be happy to share real quick. So let me do this. I'm still with you, folks. Wanted to share your comment on issues 1 through 3 because I mentioned it, but we didn't really talk about it, and I was very glad to have heard from you. So you got your books. I'm so happy you finally got them. You long overdue. Last thing I say. Um, so you thought you'd read an issue a day, spread it out a little bit, but you read all 3 because you wanted to see where I was going. that's the goal, right? My writing can be really fucking dense and can be kind of fucking boring. At least issue 2 is the hump, right? I'm so glad you got through issue 2. Um, and I'm glad it was compelling. I'm glad it made you turn the pages as the next bit. You see the replay value because you weren't really looking at the art as much as you could, and it's beautiful art. Our art team is incredible. This book would be nowhere without our art team. Um, but you wanted to keep seeing what would happen next. I'm glad. Yeah, we issue 2 was literally laying down the universe, and that's where it suffered. Um, but issue 3 hopefully picks up that ball. I'm excited again to hear Eliza Barr's thoughts on him on issue 3, and I don't know why you don't have your issue yet. We should be done by the end of this month, so if you don't have it by the end of this month, please let me know, Eliza Barr. I think why is because we've been going through the 3-issue orders first, and then we're doing the single issue orders. That might be why, and so hopefully this week or next we'll be shipping out the single issues. So maybe that's why. I don't know. And it's totally heavy metal. Well, I am courting heavy metal as politely as I can. I'm just gonna say that. Um, and I'm glad you dug the Gunsmoke reference. I am curious which Gunsmoke reference you're talking about, because there is one very directly that's just kind of like me name dropping it, because why the fuck not? But then there's an ongoing, very important one. And I'm curious if you got that one. So if you can answer, let me know. If not, just I'm very curious. Red Rooster turned you into a Pavlov's dog. I'm so sorry, Eliza Barr. It's hilarious to me, but it's so terrible. It's so terrible. So we are 6. Oh no, December was my hope before craziness. So March, April, May, June. Yeah, we're 6 to 7 months late. So there you go. But it should be. It was the name drop. No, you're gonna read them again soon. Okay, okay. So look for it. If you are a Gunsmoke fan, I mean, it should be like that. It should be really easy. Uh, it's not introduced till issue 2, but then it's throughout issue 2 and 3. So yeah, I like it. I like it. In fact, the character. I can't. I'll ruin it. I don't want to ruin it. Uh, But cool. Yeah, the name drop was easy, and I just thought it was cool to yell Gunsmoke while somebody's fucking brains are flying out. I did. I rewrote that. I always rewrite the pages later after Maxie's delivered the art. So it's more timely. I've had more experience, and I have a better message to say because my scripts have something to say always, and they have a direction and a purpose. But I want them to be the culmination of everything I have, the best I can give at that time. So that's kind of how that works. And I was reading Gunsmoke around, or I was watching a lot of Gunsmoke around issue 2, and so that affected some things. So I name drop it in issue 2, but there's another ongoing reference. But yeah, so I was glad to hear that. You are the first one to share what the experience of reading all 3 is with any detail. Um, some people's like, I really enjoyed the reads. That's the most common thing you'll get with people who are like, they might not have even liked your fucking work, but they're too proud that they backed it, right? I have no idea. But going into a little bit of details and telling me why and what's carrying it forward and such, that's really important. It's really helpful. So I really appreciate that. My hope since the beginning, and I've read these issues probably 1,000 times now, is that through one through 3, we give you the handshake and the respect of the series and ask you to come along with us for the rest of the ride. That's the point of them. They should be read kind of close to each other so that you get that handshake with as much clarity as we can provide it, But just like I tend to read manga volumes all in one sitting if I can. I rarely break it up by chapter. Um, Unless it's really hard to read, like Trigun again. It took me weeks to get through Trigun because it's disjointed. The art style is it's really cool, but the paneling and it's insanity. It's fun, broken insanity, and that's why it's so popular. But like my favorite piece of Trigun is the Badlands Rumble movie. It's everything I love about Trigun, like distilled and put forward in on its best foot. Whereas like the manga is rough. It could look really cool. I love the art style, but it's just disjointed. It's hard to read. But yeah, again, thank you so much. I think that's probably going to do it, folks. I do need to go feed the pup, and I need to see if there's anything else I need to do today. I know there's cleaning I need to do. There's always cleaning needs to be done. But yeah, I thank you folks for joining me. It's probably been about 3 hours. 2 hours, 35 minutes is where we are at. Go back on over here. This has been What You Reading 6 and updates on multiple things. I'm Cody with IronVerse Comics, and keep supporting indie, please. Not just for me, but because we need independent voices to rise above the cacophony and allow us to see perspectives we need to be seen that tend to get smothered. And yeah, I'll catch you on that old rusty trail. You folks take care. Again, thank you so much. Catch you next time.